but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your bars. Let's pick up a word in Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with Word. And to our Muslim listeners, want to wish you a good first day of Ramadan as well. Kwesi, it was good seeing you yesterday.
Yeah, it was good seeing you too. I was like, ah! I was like, hey!
Yeah, I came down to the station yesterday. We had to take care of some business regarding our Listening to the Streets program, which WURD is supporting. And it was good to see everybody, man. I saw Mike and Eric and you. And it was one brother. He was in the studio. He was like, "Can I help you, sir?" I was like, "I'm solid."
Oh, he's never back. That's right. Oh, man. No, it was nice. It was like the gang was kind of back together a little bit. Troy,
yeah,
and, but everybody, I was like, oh, okay, hey, everybody.
So it was really great to just see everybody, man. I miss you guys. I really do. So that was great. And there's more great news, Kwesi, because my lawn is popping.
All right,
Little bit. You know what I mean? I looked out the window like, yo. So the weeds are steadily, decreasing. The grass is increasing. Here's what I think happened. I think the weeds started growing in the spring before the grass. Mm-hmm. Like the grass was there. It was going to grow. But, the weeds started growing first. The weeds got to jump on it.
Yeah.
And was like, now, you going to have to catch it. Matter of fact, we going to choke you out if you don't do something. So, I threw the stuff down. They starting to die a little bit, so it's looking a little bit good. I still got some spaces though in the front, man. I think somebody dog peed on my lawn. The little strip by the curb.
Is it yellow?
It's like it's beyond yellow. It's like gone.
Yeah.
So first it was yellow, right?
That's a dog.
Yeah, it's like a couple of spaces where that looked like the shape of a little pea pool. That's what it looked like.
Tell Fido to get off your lawn.
And we got cameras outside. Don't let me have to go to the cameras, man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, it was you. No, it wasn't. Here's your dog right here. Let me replay it for you, So we're going to try to figure that out. I might have to get some sod to just put in those spaces, man, because I can't with the whole process again. But anyway, Dr. Ayla Stanford, who is somebody I have known for many years, I am so happy for her. She was stunned when Good Morning America surprised her yesterday morning outside the vaccination site at Deliverance Evangelistic Church in North Philadelphia. I knew nothing about this, she told Action News afterwards. While only 8% of vaccines go to African Americans nationally, at the Black Doctor site, 75% go to African Americans and 82% go to people of color. And that's because Dr. Stanford is intentional about it. Good Morning America presented her with a $10,000 check and 20 cell phones with data to go toward the effort of vaccinating underserved communities here in the city of Philadelphia. Then they presented her with a real street sign from the city of Philadelphia bearing her name that will go up in the neighborhood. I want the city, the region, and honestly, the nation to feel our impact long after the pandemic, Dr. Stanford said. And you know what? We will. Because Dr. Ayla Stanford stepped up when no one else would, and she made sure our community was taken care of. That's character. That's special. That's love. Congratulations, Ayla. You deserve that recognition and more. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. Dr. Delana Wardlaw and Dr. Elena McDonald join us to talk about what's going on with coronavirus and the vaccines. New Jersey Attorney General Gurbir Graywall joins us to talk about the launch of an online database that allows the public to search reports of police use of force from across the state. Plus, CNN commentator Roxanne Jones on the latest shooting of an unarmed black man in Minnesota. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065. A toll-free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at ForWord. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one, following more than a year of growing controversy and a demonstration last week, the Penn Museum apologized Monday for the, quote, unethical possession of human remains, unquote, in its Morton skull collection, and vowed repatriation and reburial of the remains of more than a dozen anonymous Black Philadelphians. The remains will be returned to congregations or communities in Philadelphia for interment in a historically Black cemetery as yet undetermined, according to Penn. In addition, the museum said it'll seek agreements with communities abroad enabling the return of dozens of skulls of enslaved individuals from Cuba that are also contained in the 1,000 skull collection amassed by 19th century doctor and white supremacist Samuel George Morton. Student and community activists concerned by the presence of the remains of the enslaved and the anonymous have pressed the museum to remove the entire collection from its holdings and work with local communities in Philadelphia and elsewhere to return and rebury all of the remains. Monday, the museum said it would try to do so wherever possible. The Penn Museum and University of Pennsylvania apologized for the unethical possession of human remains in the Morton collection, said Christopher Woods, the new museum director. But a spokesperson for Police Free Penn, a student group that was among those demonstrating last week, called the museum decision definitely a great step for the museum to take. We're happy for this commitment to return all remains in the Morton collection. So this dude was a white supremacist collecting the skulls of Black people. And you know, like, what, who does that? That's like something out of a comic book, like something out of some evil, you know, movie or something. But he was doing it in real life, collecting the skulls of Black people. And from what I know about the thoughts and the theories of white supremacists, you know, in the 18th, 19th centuries, they thought that somehow Black people's brains were inferior. And so that collection of those skulls was probably in service of trying to prove that theory. But insane, absolutely insane. And here's what's more insane. Y'all keeping them. Why does Penn have 1,000 skulls? Like, what? Why do you have these skulls of these people between Philadelphia and Cuba? Why do you have that? Why are you keeping that as if that's some kind of thing to have in a museum from a white supremacist? See, this is why, man. This is why we look at y'all and realize that these institutions that have been here for hundreds of years, yeah, you got to roll in all of this. You help to perpetuate this and continue to do it if nobody calls you on it. Why would you even have that? Why does somebody have to come and tell you to take these skulls out of there and bury them somewhere? Why do you have that like that's something that people need to come and see? It's crazy, Kwesa. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. I mean, I can understand to some extent of, you know, no, I can't. I was trying to find, no, I can't. You know, and I think that this is probably one of the other reasons that it bothers me when they are over here raiding tombs in Egypt and they're like, oh, let me go ahead and, you know, try to see what's underneath, you know, this cloth here and try to, you know, see these mummified remains and all that. Like, no, let people stay buried. They're buried there for a reason. Leave them alone. Like, leave them alone. It makes no sense. And so I will never fully understand why you would do something like that. And to me, it's sick is what it is. And that's really all that you can say about it. The fact that you a white supremacist and you over here trying to do these studies to really kind of perpetuate your ideologies of racism. And that's really what it was. So yeah, no, bury them, do what you have to do. But no, you should no longer be holding on to those people's remains. Absolutely.
And story number 2, a cardiologist testified in former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's trial Monday that George Floyd had an exceptionally strong heart, undermining the defense claim that pre-existing heart issues played a major role in Floyd's death. Dr. Jonathan Rich, retained by the prosecution as a heart expert, said there was absolutely no evidence that Floyd had a negative heart condition. Every indicator is that Mr. Floyd actually had an exceptionally strong heart, testified Rich, who's a cardiologist at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago. Bystander and surveillance video showed Chauvin and two other officers pinning Floyd, a black man, face down on the street for 9 minutes and 29 seconds on May 25, 2020. Chauvin, who is white, knelt on Floyd's neck the entire time, even after Floyd ceased moving and breathing. Chauvin has been charged with second and third degree murder as well as second degree manslaughter. If convicted of second degree murder, he would likely face 11 to 15 years in prison. Chauvin's attorney, Eric Nelson, has argued that Chauvin's actions did not cause Floyd's death. Instead, Nelson has claimed factors contributing to Floyd's death include heart disease, high blood pressure, and drug use. The cardiologist was having none of it. Kawesa, what do you think?
Yeah, these folks they're having on the stand, they are doing what they got to do to make sure that this man gets the maximum for this sentence, and I'm here for it. I really am. And so I'm glad that they are really making sure that people understand, no, he died because you murdered him. You died because you cut off his air supply. Stop trying to make it about drugs. Stop trying to make it about, the fact that he, was maybe in poor health or whatever else that you want to make it about. No. Put the blame where it's supposed to go. And the fact of the matter is that Chauvin killed George Floyd.
Absolutely, which brings me to story number 3. More details now emerging in the case of Daunte Wright. A 20-year-old man was fatally shot during a traffic stop after a Minnesota police officer shouted taser but fired a handgun instead, said Brooklyn Center Police Chief Tim Gannon. Daunte Wright was driving with his girlfriend Sunday afternoon when he was pulled over in the Minneapolis suburb. Earlier, police said they tried to take the driver into custody after learning during a traffic stop that he had an outstanding warrant. The man got back into his vehicle and an officer shot him, police said. They said the man drove several blocks before striking another vehicle. But body cam video released by the police chief Monday provided more details about what happened. Wright did get out of his car but then got back in. It's not clear why, but the police chief told reporters it appeared from the video that Wright was trying to leave. An officer is then heard shouting, taser, 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 but then fires a gun, not a taser, at Wright. An officer screams an expletive and says, I shot him. The police chief said the shooting appeared to be an accidental discharge that resulted in the tragic death of Mr. Wright. Gannon offered his deepest sympathies to Wright's family and vowed continued transparency. There's nothing I can say to lessen the pain that Mr. Wright's family, friends are feeling for the loss that they must have, the chief said. That pain is shared by the community and also all those involved in the incident. The shooting happened in Brooklyn Park, about 10 miles from where former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is on trial for the killing of another black man, George Floyd. The governor of Minnesota sent his condolences to the family. And here's what I'm thinking, right? If you are going to be in a job where you are in life or death situations, we can't afford these kind of mistakes because you can't take it back when you kill somebody. And so at the very least, the officer should be fired immediately. But then the other thing I think is when you are in a situation where somebody gets in a car and pulls off, right? And should you be pulling out anything to shoot him? Or should you be on the radio figuring out how to maybe set up a roadblock down the street, maybe, do a pursuit within whatever the rules are for pursuit in your, jurisdiction? And the biggest question that I have in a situation like this is, would that have happened if the person was white? Would you have been more careful? Would you have tried to use any force at all? When I watched what happened at the Capitol riot, every time I hear now about these shootings and people talking about they had to make a split-second decision and people talking about they feared for their life and people talking about this person was a threat and all of this nonsense, right? I look at the Capitol riot, and I see white people kicking y'all behind, bringing weapons, spraying you with stuff, got bombs outside, like, and you shot one person out of thousands. And so every time that I see a case like this where there is this use of force, where it's like, oh, I had to make this split-second decision, it's like, nah. You don't do that when the people are white, even when your life is truly at stake. Anytime you beat a police officer on the steps of the Capitol so bad that he has a heart attack, that you take his taser and you tase him with it, and nobody shoots anybody, I don't want to hear it. There is no excuse. You don't do this to white people. Bottom line, you don't. And so, when you talk about, oh, it was an accident, oh, my condolences, no, you're fired immediately. And maybe some criminal charges for negligence need to be filed. Because how in the world do you shoot somebody? You that careless in a life or death job, and you that careless with black life, but with white life, even if they killing you, you don't do anything. Come on, man. We got to go to break. On the other side, we're going to discuss this, and I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Councilmember Derek Green with new information about COVID vaccines. Soon, all Philadelphians over the age of 16 will be eligible for vaccination. However, you must be registered with the city to get vaccinated. Register today at phila.gov and fill out the vaccine interest form, or email covid@phila.gov. If you can't complete the form, call 311 to get registered. Your information is confidential. We all want a healthier, better Philadelphia. Get registered today.
COVID vaccines are here, and Black physicians and scientists help to develop them. So I feel good about getting the vaccine. And with new forms of the virus now spreading, I know we need to keep up everything we're already doing. Masking up, keeping that 6-foot distance, and avoiding crowds. COVID's been doubly tough on us, so let's double down to take it down. We can do this. Learn more about getting the vaccine and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Livelihood. WURD Radio's new initiative, connecting Black Philadelphians with jobs, entrepreneurship resources, small business development information, and financial literacy tools. Learn more at wordworks.com. That's WURD-WORKS.com. And stay tuned to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by CVS. Looking at 95 southbound, jam right there. Cotman down through Girard now this morning. Northbound looks good. Westbound Vine, busy 8th Street out through Broadington Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound, jam there to south. Delays around the curve to Conshohocken, jammed. King of Prussia out to 202. Left lane block with that emergency work. Eastbound delays Gladwin to Belmont. Again, the Boulevard to Spring Garden. Southbound Boulevard, you're jammed up from 9th Street down through Fox through construction. 295 north, 47 to 42, jammed there. Right lane block because of ongoing emergency work. 55 north, jamming. Deptford in the 42. It pays to fill your prescriptions at CVS. In fact, you can earn up to $50 in extra bucks each year for filling prescriptions. That's healthier, made easier. Visit CVS today. Terms and conditions apply. Not available in all states. See cvs.com/RX rewards or the pharmacy for details. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We are, of course, taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio and let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. You can also, of course, hit us on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD, and let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. So I got to give a shout out to a couple of our listeners because yesterday, Kawais, I went through the mail that was sent to me from the station that had been accumulated there for months. And I appreciate everybody who wrote to me and wished me well when I was sick, sent cards and all of that. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the birthday cards. Miss Hattie, thank you for the birthday card. She took a birthday card. She makes cards, right? So she made a card that actually showed me, on our Facebook feed, and took a couple of pictures from that and put it on the card, and really, it made my day. Very nice. Thank you so much, Miss Phyllis Williams. Thank you so much as well for the cards that you sent when I was sick and for my birthday. I appreciate that. And, all of the listeners, man, that have written to me, and it really makes me feel good. So thank you for that. And also a listener sent their membership money. I think it was in February. And I just saw it yesterday because they sent it to me. And so it's another reason I came down to the station to bring that check, and also some other correspondence. And so do you remember that listener's name, Kawesa?
Not off the top of my head, but
Okay.
I can grab it during next commercial break so we can shout them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they said, look, I'm buying this membership because of Wake Up with Word. So we appreciate her as well, and just everybody, man. And it's like a little family. So we appreciate all of that. And actually, it's like a big family. Let me not say it's like a big family. You know what I mean? So we appreciate each and every one of you. And, of course, we're talking about a number of stories this morning on Wake Up with Word. The bizarre story of Penn having a collection of black people's skulls. Like, why do you even have that? And knowing that the collection was amassed by a 19th century doctor and white supremacist named Samuel George Morton. Why do you have a white supremacist collection of black people's skulls? To me, that's a story just because it's so bizarre. Like, why do you have that? Why would you keep that? Why would somebody not come along and say, you know what, maybe we should let this collection go? But, so this is what I'm trying to understand. Why do you have that? If you collecting stuff, man, let it be something of consequence. Let it be something that people can learn from. It's deep, man, because desecrating a corpse, that's actually a crime. That's actually a charge. So why do you have black people's skulls? You know what I mean? 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Why does it take you till 2021 to be like, you know what? Yeah, maybe we should, give these skulls back. Yeah, maybe you should. Story number 2, a cardiologist testified in former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's trial yesterday that George Floyd had an exceptionally strong heart, undermining the defense claim that pre-existing heart issues played a major role in Floyd's death. So, Dr. Jonathan Rich was having none of it. And, I know the defense is doing what they have to do. They're doing their job. They're doing what they're paid to do to try to get Derek Chauvin off. You have to try to create reasonable doubt. And so, I was in here watching part of what happened in the trial yesterday. And, the defense attorney is like, well, maybe he would be, so what you're saying is maybe he would be alive if he just gotten in the car. He said, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he would be alive if he hadn't put his knee on his neck. You know what I mean? And that's you need a witness that is going to not be trapped into agreeing with, some hypothetical theory. We ain't talking about hypotheticals. We talking about what happened. And what happened is Derek Chauvin put his knee on George Floyd's neck and exerted pressure, up to 90 pounds of pressure during different times, and killed him. That's what happened. And so this, what if this and what if that, and, no, it ain't what if. This is what happened. We have it all on video. This is what happened, And so we'll see what happens going forward. I think the other thing that was very moving was George Floyd's brother testifying about, George Floyd showing them how to treat their mother. George Floyd, throwing a football to him. George Floyd making these sandwiches sound crazy, banana and mayonnaise sandwiches, right? But, them growing up in Houston in a poor area, but still, growing up with love. And I think all of that is important, because you can't lose sight of the fact that you're talking about a human being. You're not talking about a statistic. You're not talking about a hashtag. You're not talking about a face on a mural. No, you're talking about a human being. Somebody who actually had a life and had people who loved them. People who, believed he was important to them. And so you can't lose sight of that. And so I appreciate that testimony. I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065, of course, is the number you can call to get in. And then story number 3, more details on the shooting of 20-year-old Daunte Wright during a traffic stop. He was driving with his girlfriend Sunday afternoon in a town called Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. And he was pulled over. And police said initially that they tried to take him into custody after learning that he had an outstanding warrant. He got back into his vehicle and an officer shot him. But body cam videos tells a little bit more. Wright did get out of his car, but he got back in. It's not clear why. But the police chief told reporters it appeared from the video that Wright was trying to leave. An officer is then heard shouting, "Taser, taser, taser," but then fires a gun, not a taser, at Wright. Holy expletive. The officer screams, "I shot him." The police chief said the shooting appeared to be an accidental discharge that resulted in the tragic death of Mr. Wright. And so, the police chief offered his sympathies. The governor offered his sympathies, but that officer needs to be fired. Because when you are in a situation where it's your profession, you hold the power of life and death in your hands. There is no excuse. I thought I was pulling out my taser, but I actually pulled out a gun. That happened once before in another incident where, and this was bizarre too, because they had this man, a man like 70-something years old. And he was a major donor to the sheriff's department. And I forget the name of the city, but we'll find it. But he was a major donor to the sheriff's department, and so they allowed him to be like a deputy because he gave them all this money. He's 70-something years old. So they chasing this black man. They get the black man on the ground. The 70-something-year-old man, who was like an honorary deputy or whatever he was, pulls out a gun and shoots the man and claims, "Oh, I thought I was pulling out my taser." This is not a game. This is not, dress up. You're not playing, and people are going to get back up. No, you literally hold the power of life and death in your hands. And you can't make those kind of mistakes. Now, some mistakes are understandable, but, I thought I was pulling out a taser and I pulled out a gun. You don't need that job. You don't need that job. You don't need to be there. And why is it that you only thought you was pulling out a taser and not a gun when it's black people? These things do not happen to white people. They don't. And I think, that is the part of it that needs to be explored, that needs to be acknowledged, and that needs to be stopped. Y'all ain't doing this to white people. You only doing it to us. I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. Will Mega from West Philly is on line 1. Good morning.
Solomon, good morning.
Mm-hmm.
Morning, URD listening audience. Man, last week, brother, you froze me. You begin to talk about a story you wrote about some 20 years ago. You did not give the name of the person. But I knew exactly who you were talking about, because rarely, if ever, is there someone shot by police and murdered in Montgomery County. You were talking about my brother Aaron Forbes.
Yeah,
were you not?
I was. Yeah.
The crazy thing about that was Aaron Forbes was said to have been robbing a convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Forbes was the son of the time of the head of the African American Studies Department at Temple University. Aaron Forbes was a military veteran who was honorably discharged. Aaron Forbes was the Minister of Defense for the Philadelphia local New Black Panther Party for self-defense. And Aaron Forbes, who was said to have a weapon, they came to find out, had a cane.
Yep.
He had a cane because he was injured in the military. When they said he had drugs in his system, he was taking the drugs to deal with the pain. He had prescribed drugs. You said that, man, that brought it back to my mind so clearly. I said, man.
Yeah.
Brother Aaron Forbes, man, may God bless him, brother.
Yeah.
And
may he rest
like
in
you
peace.
said, it hasn't stopped.
Nope.
Hasn't stopped.
Nope.
Have a good day.
No, it hasn't. Thank you, Will. I appreciate that. And thank you for your call this morning on WURD. And Dr. Forbes, of course, his mother was one of my wife's professors. She was minoring in African American studies, and just a heartbreaking case, man, of this brother that lost his life at the hands of police, and it was before people were really talking about this. And the reason that I brought that case up is because the thing that they cared about, the thing that they hung their hat on, was, he had drugs in his system. It's the same thing they're doing right now with George Floyd. And the reason I knew that they would do that is not just because, of the strategy that they made clear from the beginning, but it's because this is something that they have done for years, going back to that first case that I remember, Aaron Forbes. So may he rest in peace. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. You can also hit us on Facebook at 4WURD. That's FORWURD. FORWURD, and let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about this morning. Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So we do have a few comments. I did grab some of the YouTube folks, try to get you guys in today. I didn't yesterday. But Lola Khan, these traffic stops have to stop. They all lead to death for black men and people. No one shot or tased on January 6th, but this black man killed at a traffic stop. Traffic violations shouldn't mean death. Very true. Actually, I see one of our guests calling, so I'm going to go ahead and answer that. But keep the comments coming. I'll read them when I can, okay?
Absolutely. So, we're talking about a number of things this morning, and we got to talk about what's going on with the vaccines, with coronavirus, and there are some important changes that have been made in Pennsylvania as of today as to who can get the vaccine. And so we're going to talk about that and talk about why it's different in Philadelphia than it is in Pennsylvania in terms of who is eligible to get the vaccines, and talk about these variants that are spreading and have actually become the dominant strain of the novel coronavirus here in America. So we're going to be talking about all of that on the other side of this break with our guests. Dr. Elena McDonald and Dr. Delana Wardlaw, the twin docs, are going to be joining us on the other side of this break. I am Solomon Jones. This is WURD Radio. We'll be right back.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Listening to the Streets brings together young men to create street-level solutions to gun violence. Participants receive a $240 stipend, and if they attend 8 sessions, they're guaranteed a job offer. Man Up PHL and WURD want to end gun violence. Listening to the Streets is a step. Interested? Call 267-748-7818. That's 267-748-7818. Or email us at info@manupPHL.org.
The Black Words Book Club. WURD Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. For April, WURD Radio is partnering with the Free Library of Philadelphia and showcasing their pick for its annual citywide reading program, One Book, One Philadelphia, entitled The Tradition by Jericho Brown. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, April 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by CVS. Still a busy ride, 295 northbound, 47 to 42. Right lane blocked, emergency construction. The reason southbound sidewalk for delays heading into 42. 55 north out of Jam Deptford into 42. Southbound 95, your Jam Cobman through Girard. Westbound Vine, busy 8th out through Brodigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound Jam Air to south. You're busy again around the curve again from King of Prussia out to 202. Left lane blocked with emergency construction there. Eastbound busy around the curve to Belmont, again the Boulevard to Spring Garden. Southbound Boulevard jamming from 9th Street down through Fox through construction. It pays to fill your prescriptions at CVS. In fact, you could earn up to $50 in extra bucks each year for just filling prescriptions. That's healthier made easier. Visit CVS today. Terms and conditions apply. Not available in all states. See CVS.com/RX Rewards or the pharmacy for details. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're waking up
with WURD.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and WURD Radio in partnership with the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, Independence Blue Cross Foundation, Penn Medicine, and LabCorp have teamed up to launch Go to Know. Go to Know is a new public health campaign to reduce colorectal cancer in the Black community. Request your free, easy, at-home colorectal cancer screening kit called the FIT Kit. The FIT Kit is designed to provide early detection of colorectal cancer. The FIT test doesn't require any fasting or colon cleanses, and it can be done in a matter of minutes. Most importantly, you'll learn how to make sure you and your family can stay well and live a long, healthy life. Go to wordradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner or call 1-877-422-2030 to learn how you can get free at-home Fit Kit screening test. So, as always on Tuesday at this time, we welcome Dr. Elena McDonald and Dr. Delana Wardlaw to talk about what's going on with the novel coronavirus in Philadelphia and beyond. Doctors, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning,
Thanks for having us.
Yep, you're welcome. So, Dr. McDonald, I want to start with you because in Pennsylvania and I believe in New Jersey and I believe in Delaware as well, but not in Philadelphia, people 16 and over can now get the vaccine. Is that right?
Yes.
In all 3 states? Okay.
Yes.
So why not in Philadelphia? Like, what's going on? You're a pediatrician. Please tell me what in the world is going on.
Solomon, I am not sure exactly why, Philadelphia has been kind of standing on its own island with the whole vaccine rollout, Solomon. So, whatever Pennsylvania does, Philadelphia has really just been doing its own thing. So I'm not really sure why they are still holding back. But absolutely, all the teenagers should be ready to go. Well, 16 and above. Let's be clear. 16 and above should be ready to go and get their vaccine. So I know Philadelphia is waiting until next week to roll it out to 16 and above. I'm not sure why that call is being made, but we just need to continuing to roll with this vaccine distribution as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of what's happening, Dr. Wardlaw, with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, some people got sick apparently from a batch. What is going on with the Johnson & Johnson one-shot vaccine right now?
Well, so over the weekend, there were 4 states where people had gotten side effects from the vaccine. Some had nausea, some had vomiting, some had some lightheadedness, some had dizziness. Now, those are side effects that we can, we can see, and those are not of major concern. All those patients, recovered, did fine, and those were side effects. However, what is of concern is that Johnson & Johnson is halting their vaccine at federal sites. I'm sorry, Solomon. At federal sites, because there is a concern where we have to go further into the investigation about blood clots possibly being related to the vaccine. So as of this morning, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will be halted at federal sites. They will have an emergency meeting to convene on tomorrow, on Wednesday, which is the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, which is an independent council, which, again, these vaccines are under emergency authorization, so we're still monitoring for side effects and potential adverse reactions. So these blood clots would be a potential adverse reaction. So that vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson one shot, is being recommended to be halted at federal vaccination sites. They're going to meet tomorrow because it has to be further investigated if these blood clots are directly related to the vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Dr. McDonald, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I just think, as Dr. Wardlaw just pointed out, is that science is constantly reviewing the data, and whenever you start to see things that's going on, is it outliers? Is it total? Is it connected? Is it just a coincidence? And it's our responsibility to take a step back and say, okay, what are we actually seeing here? And is it enough to really discontinue the vaccine, or is it just a coincidence? And I just want people to keep in mind that over 190 million vaccines have been distributed as of today. So while it is a few cases, it's an extremely small percentage, but it's enough when you see it where you need to pause and do some further investigation.
Mm-hmm. So to be clear, in terms of those numbers, Johnson & Johnson's vaccine, 6 recipients in the United States developed a rare disorder involving blood clots within about 2 weeks of vaccination. 7 million people in the U.S. have received the Johnson & Johnson shot so far. So 6 people out of 7 million so far, but they have paused the distribution of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine at federal sites for now so that they can further investigate what's happening with that particular vaccine. Now, Dr. McDonald, does that have any kind of bearing on the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccines and how they operate?
No, not at all, because remember, they're all three different independent vaccines, and we're specifically seeing if the question is coming up with Johnson & Johnson, it will have no bearing on Moderna and Pfizer.
Okay. All right. So, Dr. Wardlaw, I want to ask you about the B117 variant of COVID, right? So that is one of the, I guess, the mutations of that original COVID-19 virus, but it's supposed to be the dominant strain now. What's going on with B117?
Well, and so this was predicted that would become the dominant strain in the beginning of the year. So again, no surprise, and it does show that this strain, which is the UK strain, that it was first detected in the UK strain in December, it made its way over here to the United States. And this is the strain that is detected in most cases in the United States now. It has an increased transmission rate. It can spread easier from person to person. But again, still looking to see. It has not proven to be have more severe more complications or severe increases in death. So again, it's more transmissible though. So it means that more people are going to get the virus with this. So we have to stay at it. We have to stay committed to these mitigation efforts. We have to make sure we're still mask wearing and social distance. And I know we've been hearing the same thing for over a year, but we just have to keep reminding folks, because even though 20% of the United States have been fully vaccinated, we still have a ways to go until we reach that 85% that we need for herd immunity, where we can stop the spread of this virus. So we just have to stay steadfast. And yes, that strain is dominant. And we just have to do what we can do by decreasing the number of hosts that it can spread to, which means that more people need to get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. Dr. McDonald, when I look at what happened with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, all 6 of the people who developed this blood clot thing were women. I want to ask you both the difference between women and men in terms of the research and how people are reacting and what the effects are on people of the vaccine. Dr. McDonald, I'll start with you, and then Dr. Wardlaw.
So at this point, Solomon, I don't think we have any definitive data that I have seen that women are going to be more affected, have more negative effects from the vaccine. Now, we do know that more women are getting vaccinated. More women are getting vaccinated based off, the data that we're seeing. So the more people getting vaccinated in a certain group, you may see more side effects in that particular group. But right now, there is no true steadfast data at this point that's saying that we can expect women to have more severe side effects.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Wardlaw?
Yep, I agree. And again, and just have to look and see if it's other things that are related to it. We know there are other causes of blood clots, potentially people who are smokers and on birth control together that can put women at increased higher risk as well. So it is, again, the data just has to be researched very clearly. And again, these are independent committees that do this. This is not the manufacturing company that do this. So the research will be done, and we will get clear answers. But right now, we don't have those answers just yet, Solomon.
Mm-hmm. Dr. McDonald, in terms of children,
yeah,
when are we going to get to children for vaccination? I believe Pfizer is doing some research with their vaccine in children. What's going on with that?
That's one of the $1 million questions, Solomon. So yes, to your point, Pfizer just announced a couple weeks ago that they have some very promising data in children between the ages of 12 and 15. They were actually saying that they thought that vaccine was 100% effective, but those numbers have to be, evaluated and analyzed by an outside independent group, as Dr. Wardlaw has mentioned, and then determine if Pfizer will be allowed to roll out the vaccine under the emergency use authorization to children too. So they have put in the request for an evaluation of their data. So we should hopefully get some more information in the next couple of weeks or months as to when the vaccine will start to get rolled out to younger and younger children. We do know that Moderna started their clinical trials in children between, their trials will eventually go down to 6 months of age, up to 17 years of age in children, because right now Moderna only is up to 8 for 18 and above. So we're getting the data, Solomon. Pfizer will likely have their vaccine out before Moderna, based on what we see thus far. But we're still waiting on the data to make that determination.
Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Wardlaw, I want to ask you about seniors and technology, because that's one of the things I'm hearing in terms of accessibility to the vaccine, and specifically in Philadelphia, that people can't get online to make the appointments, and it's putting people at a disadvantage. What are you hearing about seniors and technology in terms of their access to getting vaccinated if they want to?
It's a big challenge, Solomon, and I see it every day in my practice. My staff literally have to sign people up because they don't have access to the internet, and so my staff takes the time to sign up our elderly patients. So that digital divide is there, and it's huge. So we have to, even, there are phone lines that are available now. Elderly patients, it's difficult for them sometimes to make these calls, press 1 for this, press 2 for this, press 3 for this. I've made that call to 311. It sometimes can be a little bit overwhelming, especially if you're an elderly patient, if they have, visual impairment, if they have hearing impairment. It's a huge challenge. So we have to do what we can as a community. You have some community groups that are helping elders. They have some senior centers that are open that can help elders to sign up in their building, to help them with the digital divide. They have computers that are available in their buildings and their conference room to help them sign up. But it's a huge problem. I see it every single day in my office, and we just my staff just tries to help. And if we can have other people to step up to do that, that would help this elderly generation as well. But the digital divide is huge, and we have to really try to develop some programming to ease that. And it causes frustration. The whole times, the wait times, it's a lot, Solomon. Yes.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. So we are going to, at some point, give out the number to the Philadelphia Health Department for those who want to call, because I think there's a number. But, they want you to do all this stuff online, and it is. Yeah. It's harder for seniors to do that.
It's very difficult. Myself, I had an issue with my parents. My parents just could not make the leap to get it done. I mean, of course, Dr. McDonald and I had to do it for them. But, again, many elderly people don't have relatives right there immediately available to help them. So we really have to take this into consideration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Dr. Elena McDonald, Dr. Delana Wardlaw, Dr. McDonald, how do people get in touch with the two of you?
You can find us at Twin Sister Docs on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also find us on our website at thetwinsisterdocs.com.
All right. I want to thank you both, as always, for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you, Solomon. Stay safe.
Thank you, Solomon.
All right. All right. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we are going to continue the show right here on WURD.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
The Germantown Friends School mission begins with a commitment to community and to the belief that academic achievement is in itself not enough. Inspired by Quaker values, GFS encourages students in preschool through grade 12 to see the world as theirs to experience, to understand, to create, and to change. Learn more about the GFS academic, arts, and athletics programs at their upcoming virtual open house, Friday, April 16th, 9 a.m. Register now at germantownfriends.org/admissions.
Spring forward with premium nutrition meals. Enjoy a variety of new exciting entrees along with rewards and referrals program that pays you to eat and tell. As always, everything is chef crafted, freshly prepared, and delivered to your door. Just visit premiumnutritionmeals.com. Word listeners get $10 off 6 meals or more. Enter code PREMIUMWORD at checkout.
We are people of resilience, so let's protect our lives with vaccines we can trust. We can do this.
To learn more about COVID-19 vaccines, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
This is WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. And now, Kawesa, I just sent you my evidence.
Yeah, I see it.
Did you see it?
Yes. Yeah.
Don't that look like the shape of like somebody the dog that peed?
Yeah. That's Sparky, Fido, Cujo, Buster, that's definitely a dog pee.
Oh man. These dogs, man. Messing up my doggone, and it's yellow too.
Yeah, that's dog.
Yeah, that's a dog.
I'm sorry.
Somebody dog
That's
that
rough.
came and then peed on. What? You know what I mean? You got you got blocks. You walking the dog for blocks. You gonna stop in front of my house. Why is that?
Yeah.
I'm feeling like an old man now. Get off my lawn. I'm that dude. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation this morning at WURD. We're talking about a number of things, including our top 3 stories. Story number 1, following more than a year of growing controversy and a demonstration last week, the Penn Museum apologized Monday for the unethical possession of human remains in its Morton Skull collection and vowed reburial of the remains of more than a dozen anonymous Black Philadelphians. That's ghoulish. Why do y'all have skulls? Anyway, story number 2, a cardiologist testified in former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's trial Monday that George Floyd had an exceptionally strong heart, undermining the defense claim that pre-existing heart issues played a major role in Floyd's death. Story number 3, more details now emerging in the case of Daunte Wright. A 20-year-old man was fatally shot during a traffic stop after a Minnesota police officer shouted taser but fired a handgun instead. That's according to Brooklyn Center Police Chief Tim Gannon. So we want to hear from you. You can give us a call, 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Malik from Mount Airy is on line 1. Go ahead, Malik.
Good morning, Solomon. Good morning, Kawesa, and good morning, WURD family. So let me get this straight. You already know what I do, so I already know it's absolutely no possible way for you to mistake the two. So that being said, eventually we just have to say, we're trained to kill y'all. You can't keep saying I feared for my life or it was an accident. Because here's the thing, maybe she didn't understand. There's no reset button. Once you squeeze that trigger, there's no, okay, we're going to go right back to this scene and we're going to repeat, and I'm going to say taser, 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 and we're going to use the taser next time. The tasers, one is plastic, one is
is a carbon fiber. The fields are completely different. And my thing is, one is a taser squared. A firearm is usually rounded. Where, how, and in what way did you formulate something that's black versus something that's yellow, and they look the same? Or maybe I'm wrong. Do they look alike? I don't know. But
I mean, the only thing to me that they have in common is that, you know, with both of them, you squeeze a trigger. But you know, I think you're right. They do. They look and I would imagine they feel different. I've never felt a taser, but I've, you know, felt a firearm.
Right.
But in terms of they look different. They do.
And my only, like I said before, and I'll say it again, seeing those lights behind my vehicle should not say this is literally about to become a life or death struggle or a traffic stop. Not you know, okay, I done robbed a bank, or, you know, I was in a shootout and I led the police on some 2-mile car chase at 100 miles an hour. These are traffic stops. These are literally traffic stops that are literally escalating to either assault or death. Where's the training when they see a white person can get out the car, but, you know, berate them, push them, and I've seen videos where police are being body slammed, but they never figure out, oh, I can use my firearm. January 6th, you were literally being beat to death, but I couldn't use my firearm because of the optics. Imagine that. But this person, I accidentally shot and killed them because, you know, the taser and the gun, you know, they pretty much feel the same and look the same. But that's my piece. I pray for the souls of that family, because that young man should have had his day in court, period. This is my biggest problem. We deserve our day in court, not to be killed at no traffic stop. I thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. Olanian from Nicetown is online, too. Go ahead, Olanian.
Good morning. I have a old question, and other people besides myself have been bringing up this situation to me, and I figured, well, I finally need to ask it. And I really wish I could have spoken to the twin sister docs about this. Now, everybody, I assume, in one time or another, middle school, high school, or college, took a biology course, a chemistry course. And you learn in chemistry and biology and other sciences that atoms are microscopic. They're real small. So if you put a face mask over your nose and mouth, you're still going to get molecules into your body. The face mask can't stop the molecules because the molecules are smaller than the pores of the mask. So if you have a mask on, you still can get air, you still can get smoke, you still can get other liquids. So I'm wondering, how does the mask actually stop the coronavirus? Because the coronavirus is microscopic. It just doesn't add up like 1 and 1 is 2. I still wear a mask, don't get me wrong, but I'm wondering, how can a mask stop element from getting into your nose and mouth and ears and eyes or no skin, of course. That's all. I want to know the answer to it. Maybe you can give them that question.
Okay. I'll send it to them.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. So here's what the CDC says. The CDC says that masks substantially reduce exhaled respiratory droplets and aerosols from infected wearers and reduce exposure of uninfected wearers to these particles. Cloth masks and medical procedure masks fit more loosely than respirators, like N95 masks. The effectiveness of cloth and medical procedure masks can be improved by ensuring that they are well fitted to the contours of the face to prevent leakage of air around the mask edges. So in other words, that's why they say my mask protects you and your mask protects me, because the mask that I'm wearing keeps my droplets from coming out and getting on you. That's how they work. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065. Of course, people are weighing in on Facebook at onWURD, at FORWURD, FORWURD. Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So we do have quite a few comments here. Nikki Carter says, I see the top brass are placing their opinions in the media prior to investigation. That is some PR mind trick mess. Usually statements are just about what happened, sans any opinions or public testimonials, just as the top guy in Atlanta after the massage parlor shootings reduced it to this guy having a bad day. Yep. Really? So that's a comment from Nikki Carter. Good morning to Miss Cheryl Brown. Thanks so much for checking us out. Atia Hicks says, I truly appreciate the professionals' testimony. All of them say Mr. Floyd's death result due to lack of oxygen levels, and all due to actions of these cops. So that's another comment that we have here. Helena Fontes says, good morning. In regards to why Penn had skulls of blacks, it is likely because they were trying to prove the brain was smaller than whites in hopes to discredit the intelligence of blacks. That's actually, part of the research that he was doing. He tried to say that because whites had a larger cranial capacity, that they were somehow smarter than black folks. So that was the research, exactly. Gloria Gainey, why have traffic stops always been a life-treating situation for the black and brown man? Very true. I wish I had the answer to that. Unfortunately, well, I mean, we know it's racism, but it's just sad. Netta McQuilla says, Solomon, as far as your lawn, I'm the same way. Don't let your pet do your business here. Keep it moving. So that's another comment. Sonia Marie, thanks so much for checking us out. And I apologize. I know I was trying to read the YouTube folks. Let me go back. So I already read Lola's comment. She also said there are videos of white men cursing out cops and driving off at traffic stops. Basically, saying like, yeah, white folks get away with this stuff. Beatrice Sims, good morning, Word family. Thank you, Brother Solomon and Sister Kwesa, for speaking truth and keeping us connected and convicted to what's righteous. Joanne Kemp says, if that cop accidentally shot Dante Wright, then she needs to accidentally, in quotation marks, go to jail. So that's another comment that we have here as well. Also, Zias Johnson says, that's a lie. She had time to yell, taser, taser, taser. They kill us and offer any BS story. I bet if a black woman intended to taser a white man, she would be behind bars as we speak. So that's another comment as well. So quite a few folks weighing in. Allison B. Frazier Hayden says, I feel the same way. All these trees around here, you let your dog visit my lawn?
Oh, man.
So, yeah, exactly. That's crazy. Yeah, people, be a little bit more courteous. Let your dog pee on a fire hydrant or something. That's what they're there for. So, yeah, those are some of our comments that we have. Good morning to Atia Hicks, Antoinette Bevins Pickens. Thanks so much for checking us out this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show, Lord. All right. Let's go back to the phone lines. Rita from South Philly is on line 3. Go ahead, Rita.
I stink that bad. Oh, it's coming through the
No,
phone.
you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. How you doing?
Okay. Well, it's not good. Now, let me say this about this lady police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are not qualified to do the job. Number one, that one was too scared to be a police officer. Mm-hmm. She needed to be behind a desk somewhere. That's how come she got the gun mixed up. She really didn't mean to shoot him, but she really got the gun mixed up. See, some people are scared. And if you're scared, you can't be a police officer. That was not the right job for her. I'm not saying fire the woman. Put her on desk duty, but I don't think she meant to shoot him. But there's another way of looking at this. I used to be a barmaid, young girl. I had a son to feed, and I was working. And I decided to get a ride with a guy from the bar. I didn't realize, because y'all remember you're young and kind of dumb at the time, he was kind of on the drunk side. I'm going to let this fool drive me home. The cop stopped. What do you think he did, Solomon, the man that's driving me home?
Jumped out the car and ran. He reached for a gun? Oh, did he?
And then he says the M word, and I'm going to shoot this cop. What do you think I did? I took that doggone gun, knocked it the heck out of his hand, and threw it underneath the seat.
You took the gun,
knocked it out of
his hand,
and threw it
underneath the seat. Uh-huh.
Right. Because I didn't want him to shoot that cop, and I go to jail too. You know what I'm saying? And number one, So then the man said, well, you kind of drunk and everything. So the cop brought me home. I said, shoo, that was close. And that's why.
So what happened to the guy that? What happened to the guy that pulled out the gun?
They took him to jail. So he was drunk. He couldn't drive the car. But see, he was going to shoot that cop, all drunk the heck up. And then I'd have been assessed me after the fact. I'm just getting a ride. I didn't even know the man. But see,
so you were in the car with a person with a gun who pulled the gun on the cop, and rather than question you, they took you home? They didn't question you at all? Or?
No, he didn't question me.
You didn't get questioned?
I came home. They didn't even realize
after they pulled the gun, after the guy you were with pulled the gun on the cop.
They never found.
They didn't question you. They just took you home.
No, exactly. And see, that's why.
How long ago was this, Rita?
30 years ago, 32 years ago. I was a young girl, about 24.
So they just,
you know
they ain't questioned you at all. They just took you home. They ain't think maybe you might have been an accessory. Maybe y'all might have been. That's amazing.
Well, here's what would have happened. My boss would have verified that I didn't know the man. I was just getting a ride home. Okay? But see, that's what happened with this man. He's like a soldier. He had just got the car. If those cops had called where he got the car from, they would have verified that the car wasn't stolen. He had just got the car. That's why that license plate was the way it was.
Well, all they had to do was look at the temporary tag and run it, rather than act like he, was some kind of armed car thief who stole the car.
But you understand what I'm saying? But let me also say this.
I understand that. I just don't understand how you was in a car with somebody, pulled a gun on the cops, and they just took you home and ain't questioned. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand that part.
Let me explain to you what happened. The cop was coming up. The car stopped. He pulls the gun. I realized it because he said, I'm going to kill this MF. I threw the gun, knocked it out of his hand, threw it on his feet. The cop didn't even know the man had a gun.
Well, why they lock him up then?
Drunk. He was drunk to drive.
So they never searched the car or anything?
As far as I know, they never found that gun. But the thing about it was it showed you never know what somebody's going to do. That man was drunk. And see, I was innocent. I was just getting a ride. If they had verified it, they would told that woman. And see, that's why I tell these young girls, don't get in everybody's car because you don't know what's going to happen. People have been killed taking a ride from somebody because they was killing the person that was taking them home, but they got killed too because they just so happened to be in the car. That's all I'm saying. You have to be careful. And see, here's another thing, Solomon. I think you need to follow directions. He broke loose because he was a violation of parole, didn't take him with his parole officer. I'd rather for him.
So you think if he would have followed directions, he would still be alive?
I would think so, but here's the thing, Solomon.
Do you think that the people January 6th was following directions and they beating the mess out of the cops?
No, here's what happened.
No, so they still alive though. That's what. So this is what I'm trying to get to, right?
Okay.
The people who were beating the mess out of the cops at the Capitol, right? Spraying them, hitting them with poles, taking their tasers and tasing them with them, pulling off their gas masks, getting them stuck indoors. No, only one of them died as a result of the police shooting them.
Right.
Do you think they were following directions?
No. Well, see, here's the thing, Solomon. Young people are hard to deal with. They got a lot of anger. It's like me and you, we can reason. They don't want to listen. They don't. I can't say why. I know we made a lot of mistakes bringing them up, but they got a lot of anger and hostility in them. And if they get a hold of you, they're hard to stop. It's like an army that, like you say, just say go. Even the women, and I'm a woman, they're nasty. They're belligerent.
Not all of them.
But I'm just saying what I see out here in the street. Watch this, Solomon.
No, I can't because we gotta move on. We got somebody else on the line, but that's what I'm trying to get to. So for the folks who say, oh, if the black people if y'all just follow directions, if y'all would just comply, if you would just this, if you would just that, the people January 6th, and again, I'm gonna keep going back to it because that's all the proof that you need. They were literally beating the police. One of them out of thousands of people got shot. So it's not about whether or not you follow directions. It's not about that. Let's go back to the phone line. Cliff from Connecticut is on the line. Go ahead, Cliff.
Man, how come you didn't put me before reader, man? Anyway, but listen, though, man. But you're absolutely right, though, Brother Solomon. And thanks for taking my call, man. But listen, I just want to say this on the trial. Maybe it's me. You can always check me. You always done, bro. Is it the judge? Is he kind of like? I'm not satisfied with that judge. You know what I mean?
See.
I just think,
We'll
is
see.
it me or are you feeling that too?
I felt it when he was on the firefighter and was like scolding her because of her answers. He told her, don't be argumentative with the lawyers and don't be argumentative with the court. I felt like when he did that was biased. So, we'll see, man.
Absolutely. And then one other thing too, Brother Solomon, is that the defense attorney, I think he's very crafty and he's very manipulative. And what I'm saying is because of the fact that he speaks in generalization. So he'll say, for example, is it possible that somebody can attack a police officer and then get punched in the face? And do police officers have a right to protect themselves? And it should focus, I believe, there should be objections, and it should focus specifically with this case with Chauvin. So to speak in general, I think it tampers with the minds of the jurors. And I think my whole assessment is that they'll come out with a manslaughter, and would that be sufficient for our community if this cop gets that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I want to see him get the maximum. Whatever the maximum is for those charges, that's what I want to see him get. Cliff, I want to thank you for your call. We are going to go to break. On the other side of this break, we're going to talk with the Attorney General of New Jersey about a new system that they have in place in order to trace police use of force across the state of New Jersey. Gerbir Graywall is on the other side. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
You probably heard it before, but one of the best ways to stay safe from COVID is by avoiding crowds. That's better. Also, when you're out in public, make sure you stay 6 feet away from strangers or people you don't live with. It's okay to say, "Can I have some space, please?"
Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day today, and we can expect much.
If you're gonna have a get-together with friends and family, have it outside. And remember to keep those 6 feet of social distance. And last but not least, wear a mask that covers your nose and mouth with no gaps. They slow the spread of COVID or new forms of the virus called variants. And make sure you get your vaccine when it's your turn. We're all out here trying our best, and it's making a difference. We just gotta keep it up. We can do this.
To learn more about slowing the spread, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Join WURD Radio for our 6th annual Jackie Robinson Day live broadcast. Thursday, April 15th from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. Hosted by Charles Ellison and Andrea Lawful Sanders. In celebration of Jackie Robinson, who revolutionized Major League Baseball by breaking racial barriers, this year we're taking a look at how Robinson and other black athletes have played a pivotal role in advocating for social justice. You don't want to miss it. Thursday, April 15th from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio's special Jackie Robinson Day celebration is brought to you by Pico, Brown's Family ShopRite, and the Family Business Partners, Hers Snack Food, Amoroso's, and Deaton Watson. Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by CVS. Schuylkill Expressway westbound Vare to South. Your jam delays the city out to Belmont. Then jam King of Prussia out to 202. Left lane block. The emergency construction there. Eastbound busy 202 to Gulf Mills. Bluebird through to Kerbick. And the Boulevard to Spring Garden. Southbound Boulevard jamming 9th down through Fox through construction. Westbound Vine delays 95 to Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95 Cotman through Girard. Jam there. Looking at 295 northbound. That's a jam 47 to 42. Right lane there blocked because of ongoing work. 55 north jamming from Deptford into 42. Back to Philadelphia, West Oak Lane, Cheltenham Avenue, and Walnut Lane. That is an accident. It pays to fill your prescriptions at CVS. In fact, you could earn up to $50 in extra bucks each year for just filling prescriptions. That's healthier, made easier. Visit CVS today. Terms and conditions apply. Not available in all states. See CVS.com/RX rewards or the pharmacy for details. For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Cloudy and cool this morning with a chance of a few scattered sprinkles, but not for long. The clouds break for sunshine and will warm into the mid-50s by lunchtime and a high of 64 this afternoon. Pleasant this evening as the temperature drops back into the 50s. By tomorrow morning, a low of 47 degrees. Increasing clouds to morning, a bit of sun to start with, but then a chance of some showers in the afternoon, a high of 65. A rainy day Thursday, that's going to keep us cooler. Morning low of 50, just 55 Thursday afternoon. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD. And I want to welcome New Jersey Attorney General Gurbir Grewal. He joins us to talk about the launch of an online database of police use of force incidents from across the states. Attorney General Grewal, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon, and thanks so much for having me.
Yep, it's a pleasure. So tell us why this this database was necessary.
Sure. I mean, I think it goes without saying that the national movement for Black Lives, the killing of George Floyd, all of that has prompted a national reckoning on issues of race and justice like I haven't experienced in my lifetime. It's highlighted the pernicious effects of systemic racism in the criminal justice system and in law enforcement. And frankly, I think it's led to a justified crisis in confidence in law enforcement. In New Jersey, we acknowledged all of this well before the events of last summer, and we've been working hard since day one of our administration to put in place policies that promote professionalism, transparency, and accountability in law enforcement to restore that trust. And the centerpiece of our efforts is a work around use of force. And so what we've been doing well before the events of last summer is working on a new use of force policy, which we released at the end of last year. One that updates our old policies, which hadn't been touched in 20 years, Solomon. They didn't reflect our values today. They didn't reflect the realities of today. And we implemented that, and that applies statewide to all 38,000 cops, all 500 police departments. And we started in New Jersey with the premise of respecting the sanctity and dignity of all life. And that's the first part of it, duty to de-escalate, duty to intervene. And to back that up, we've focused on retraining all of our officers this year. And so that's going on as we speak. We're going to focus on critical decision-making, teaching officers how to intervene so we don't see those scenes from Minneapolis play out here where 3 officers stood by and did nothing while a 4th murdered a human being. And the final piece is what you were talking about, the use of force portal. This is our accountability and transparency tool. Within 24 hours, every law enforcement officer has to report their use of force, and every supervisor has to review it. And what they report, it includes 70 data points on every use of force if they have to use force. And so we collect information about the race of the subject, the race of the officer, where it happened, what the circumstances were, and then my office has access to it. So we could see patterns across our state. All 38,000 cops are using this tool, and last week we gave the public access to it as well. So you, the public, can see how your cops are doing and help us in this effort towards accountability.
So let me ask you this. I mean, because the main thing I think about when it comes to police reporting what happens with police is what happened with body cameras. Body cameras are turned on, body cameras are turned off, body cameras are sabotaged. So if this depends on self-reporting, how do you make sure that they are reporting every use of force incident that happens?
Excellent question. On the body cam piece, New Jersey is going towards uniform body cams. Every department by June, every patrol officer has to have body cams. No other state has done that. So we are going to have that accountability tool, but it's only as good as the data you put into these portals, right? And that's the question you're asking. The duty to supervise is a check on that. The county prosecutors, our equivalent of district attorneys, have insight to these portals, so they're able to see reports as compared to historical data to see if people are underreporting. We're able to run analytics on the reports to see if there's any sort of fraudulent reporting, things of that nature. And then my office has the ultimate oversight over this tool. And failure to report using this tool in the right way could be an internal affairs issue, could be a criminal sanction. The same way turning off your body cam is subject to criminal sanction in this state if you're not using your body cam as prescribed by our new laws. So, we are imposing that layer of oversight to make sure cops are abiding by the requirements of this reporting tool. And the public can help because this tool is out there, the data is out there. You, public, can go and see how your officers are doing. And if you don't see any reports, you could ask that question. Why don't I see any reports? Because I know something happened on so-and-so street. So that added layer of public accountability, that the public is a part of this, I think is going to be an incredible tool in our efforts to restore confidence in law enforcement and accountability.
We're talking with New Jersey Attorney General Gurbir Grewal about a new police use of force database in the state that is now accessible to the public, so the public can search this database. I'm looking at a story about it, and it says that the data breaks down police use of force on people by their race. Of the 3,600 subjects listed in the database, 44% were black, 28% were white, about 18% were Hispanic. So 44% of these use of force incidents against black people, I'm assuming that black people probably make up 13-14% of the population in the state. Yep. Why is the percentage of black people who are subjected to use of force so high?
Now we have the data to ask those questions. We didn't have that information before, and believe me, we're asking those questions now, and now diving into every use of force incident in a way we couldn't before. The question often circles around the systemic issues we're dealing with, the implicit biases that officers carry that you and I carry in different ways. So we want to make sure that every interaction when a cop's out there is devoid of any unlawful motivation. So, the tool is one part of it. We're also retraining every officer in the state on implicit bias to make sure they go through the process of identifying them, implementing techniques to not act on an implicit or subconscious bias when interacting with the public. So certainly the tool provides back-end accountability, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we're also trying to fix things on the front end by making sure that we never get to those numbers. But now we have the tool to dive in and look deeper into what's going on in our towns.
You alluded to in the beginning of our conversation some of the biases that you've experienced. You, of course, the first Sikh American Attorney General in New Jersey, and I would imagine that you've experienced some bias, ethnic and racial and otherwise. How does that experience, first of all, what is that experience? And then second of all, how does that experience shape your approach to what you do?
For those who are not familiar with my appearance, I wear a turban and beard, so I wear my religion openly. And that's not always been easy. In times of trial and tribulation in this country after 9/11, I was targeted, I was harassed, I was heckled, I was run out of public areas. In calmer times, I've been denied service at restaurants. I've been stopped and pulled over when I was a freshman in college for no other reason than I think my appearance and then who my friend was with me in the front seat. I have been targeted by radio hosts in my state for no other reason than my appearance, saying that we're not going to remember your name and we're going to call you Turban Man unless you lose the most visible symbols of your religion. So I've experienced that. I've been randomly selected at every airport prior to becoming Attorney General. Somehow, after I became AG, I was all good to get on the planes without a check. But before that, I've experienced that. So I understand how that distrust forms. I understand what it feels to be singled out. I understand why it's important to address these issues and reinstill trust and confidence in law enforcement. Don't get me wrong. I will never know the experience of what it's like to be a black man in this country, but I can listen. And that's what I've been doing a lot of over the last number of years, because I have not experienced systemic racism in the same way black Americans do in this country. You know, I am not experiencing the racism that's built over 4 centuries of history, the history of slavery and Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and the Civil Rights Movement, and the war on drugs and mass incarceration. That is uniquely different. But I can listen, and I have some degree of shared experience that I could bring to this work, and I think that motivates me to listen more and do more while I have this opportunity.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about policing in America, one of the first police forces that I heard about, and this is even before the Black Lives Matter movement really launched in 2012, was the New Jersey State Police and their racial profiling along the turnpike. What has happened since then with the New Jersey State Police in terms of racial profiling and that practice that they really were known for?
That resulted in a consent decree in the early 2000s with the Department of Justice, and there was oversight from the Department of Justice, and that resulted, when the consent decree was dissolved, when the state police hit the marks that it had to hit on training, on tracking of road stops, and all the other sort of related issues that it needed to fix back in the early 2000s. When it was dissolved, we created an Office of Law Enforcement Professional Standards to track all road stops, to make sure the data didn't show us that there was racial profiling on the turnpike, on the parkway, on our roads. So that office is the blueprint of what we're doing statewide now. We're taking those analytical tools that we use for the state police and now bringing them more broadly to the rest of the state. So our office looks at all those reports on a yearly basis, and even that data, Solomon, we're going to make public in a similar online portal for the first time in the next few weeks. 6 million road stops that we've collected through our oversight of the state police will be made public. You will see the same data we see, to see what the rates of disparity are, what in Town A versus Town B from the state police, and again, provided an additional level of oversight. So we've addressed those issues in training. We've addressed them through oversight. We're trying to address them now, frankly, Solomon. You know, we're talking a lot about back-end accountability. We also need front-end accountability. And what I mean by that is we need to make sure that the folks who are entering state police service or entering the police profession anywhere in the state are incredible people who are going to be guardians and who are going to protect the communities they serve. Right now, we're recruiting for the next 2 or 3 state police classes. And if anyone is interested, this is how we help fix things. This is how we help improve that trust that's eroded between law enforcement and community and reinstill confidence. Go to njtrooper.com if you want to be part of fixing this on the front end and helping us reflect the diversity of our state and law enforcement. I would welcome all applicants. The application period closes on April 23rd. So, you know, we set up an office of diversity and inclusion in the state police to focus on these issues, to address issues of systemic racism and implicit bias and improve recruiting. And that's part of addressing those issues that came up in the early 2000s. It's a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. So my last question is this. So you collect this data, you have numbers that show at least an indication of racial bias. What are you going to do as a result of the data?
So when I became AG, I stood up an office called the Office of Public Integrity and Accountability. And the goal of that office was to address issues of public corruption, to address issues of police misconduct, to address issues of training. And the goal was that I wasn't satisfied if we arrested somebody for engaging in unlawful policing or a police officer who crossed the line. I wanted that office then to go back in there, use the information from the arrest to see how we could improve policy, to see how we could improve training. One of the unique tools that I have as AG in New Jersey that other AGs don't have is I could issue statewide law enforcement directives that apply to all 38,000 cops that address issues of training, address issues of best practices. So if we see things going in a direction we don't like in a particular department, we can go in there, change policies, supersede an internal affairs department, impose new training requirements, and try to fix this thing. But where people cross the line, we could also hold them accountable using these types of tools, using that database, and charge them criminally, where we don't think they can be retrained or a policy fix isn't appropriate. Even before this policy, before this portal, a newspaper in New Jersey did something similar. We purchased their data, we looked at it, and we used it to retrain departments and also to prosecute officers who cross the line and engage in criminal conduct, and the patterns and practices that we saw in the data bore that out. So powerful accountability tool, retrain where we can, hold accountable through the IA process where we can, and if they cross the line, hold them accountable through the criminal process. That's the goal.
All right. That is New Jersey Attorney General Gurbir Grewal. I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you for having me, Solomon. Please stay safe.
Okay, you too. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show right here on WURD.
Okay, Her's new fire potato chips and cheese curls, they are spicy. Whew, they're hottest snacks yet. Hold on. Whew. But you know, it's not just heat. There's some nice sweet and savory stuff going on too. Ooh, there's that heat again. It burns, but it burns so tasty. Ooh, that's hot. Find Her's Fire Snacks at your store today. Whew. Taste the flavor, feel the heat, break out the Her's.
If you understand the value of doing business with a company that values its clients, remember this name, Heat and Air Guys. At Heat and Air Guys, we give our clients extra value by offering lots of ways to make their lives easier. Like financing for your installation. You get 18 months, no interest, no payments, 10-year parts and labor warranties. Service on all makes and models. Seasonal tune-ups. All offered by skilled, reliable technicians who value the opportunity to be of service to you. Call Heat and Air Guys at 610-583-3207.
The Black Words Book Club. Word Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. For April, Word Radio is partnering with the Free Library of Philadelphia and showcasing their pick for its annual citywide reading program, One Book, One Philadelphia, entitled The Tradition by Jericho Brown. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, April 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We are, of course, taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. We just spoke with New Jersey Attorney General Gurbir Grewal about a new use of force database that they have. You can find that database at NJ njOAG.gov/force. That's njOAG.gov/force. And we'll put it in our Facebook feed as well, so you can find it there and check it out for yourself. But we're taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That's the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show. Story number one, breaking news this morning. Federal health agencies called for an immediate pause in use of the Johnson & Johnson single-dose coronavirus vaccine after 6 recipients out of 7 million got an adverse reaction involving blood clots within about 2 weeks of vaccination. They're recommending a pause in the use of that vaccine out of an abundance of caution. That's what Dr. Peter Marks, director of the Food and Drug Administration Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, and Dr. Ann Shushat, Principal Deputy Director of the CDC, said in a joint statement. Right now, these adverse events appear to be extremely rare, but scientists with the FDA and the CDC will jointly examine possible links between the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and the disorder and determine whether the FDA should continue to authorize use of the vaccine for all adults or limit the authorization. An emergency meeting of the CDC's outside advisory committee has been scheduled for Wednesday. So that is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that they are pausing for the moment, just to make sure that these 6 cases out of 7 million, represent some kind of, danger to people. So they are doing that now, and we'll keep you posted on that so that you have all the information that you need to make whatever decisions you need to make for yourself. Story number 2, a cardiologist testified in former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's trial Monday that George Floyd had an exceptionally strong heart, undermining the defense claim that pre-existing heart issues played a major role in Floyd's death. Story number 3, more details now emerging in the case of Daunte Wright. The 20-year-old man was fatally shot during a traffic stop after a Minnesota police officer shouted "taser," but fired a handgun instead. So we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Derek from North Philly is on line 1. Go ahead, Derek. Derek?
Hello?
Okay, I don't hear. Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, Solomon. Love, peace, blessings, and prosperity.
Same to you.
Solomon, thank you. I wanted to speak about a few things. I'll get to the Johnson & Johnson. But I just wanted to say this, that yesterday Rita was funny. Today she was a little ridiculous with her story. Yep. And I think that, when she's telling her story, she should just keep in mind that there's other people that would like to talk with you as well. But what I call for, too, Solomon, is the Johnson & Johnson, the recall or reconsideration of their vaccine. I'm glad that they're doing that because the whole process of the vaccines are being distributed faster than ever before. I understand because of the pandemic, but the whole thing is just trial and error, in my opinion. So I'm glad at least that one pharmaceutical company is saying, wait a minute, maybe we need to back up. That's positive. I think we're going in the right direction. The other thing, Solomon, I wanted to comment on a young man that was killed.
Well, before you get to that, let me just say this, that Johnson & Johnson is one of 3 vaccines that are in use, and it's actually the one that was authorized last. Pfizer as well as Moderna, which is the one that I took, there have been no indications of any problems with them. And let me also say this, that there were 6 cases out of 7 million people just in the United States, that doesn't count other countries, of people who had problems. And so they're stopping out of an abundance of caution and pausing in order to make sure that there's no link between what happened with those 6 people and that vaccine. And I think that's absolutely the right thing to do.
I think they are setting a good example by doing that. The other thing I wanted to comment on, a young man that was killed accidentally. That's the way it's being told. I just think, Solomon, that America is in denial of this justice system as being corrupted. And that's on straight across the board in this country. And heading home to Philadelphia, the question last week was asked to the police, our police commissioner, but why aren't there convictions? And she said she don't know. You have to ask the district attorney. And so it just seems to me that she did conclude that we all have to do better, but we need her to be more outstanding in her leadership role, as to say it doesn't matter what they're doing. We want to focus and concentrate on what you're doing. Like, for instance, she alluded to the point that, well, there was a murder that was committed in a neighborhood, whereas the people, the white people, helped the crime to be solved quickly because they participated, as to say that we don't participate. And I just think that was not good to leave it that way, as to say that if we were to be more outspoken, people are outspoken, but it's just not being, justice is being served. And so I like to say that I think our police commissioner needs to show just, I thought she came here to the city to make an impact, but as of yet, I don't think she's making an impact. So as a citizen, I have to hold somebody accountable to that. And so I hold the police commissioner accountable for not impacting the city in the amount of time that she's been here. It seems like I don't blame her for this, but I'm saying that her leadership role hasn't impacted in a way where it has slowed down any crime.
All right. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. You know, I'm going to say this because it's true. The police's job is to respond to crime after it happens. Their job is to enforce the law. That's what they're supposed to be doing. And you know, do I think they could do better? Absolutely. They have to do better. They have to do better. All of us do. Do I think that the black community is to blame for what's happening in the black community? No, I don't. I don't. And I think that if what we see in our community was happening in the white community, it would be quickly resolved. And that, I believe, is a systemic issue, man. I think it goes to every level of our society, you know, from business and from those who, you know, who manufacture guns and, you know, allow their guns to get into our communities, really target our communities with guns, you know, legal and otherwise. I think it is, you know, it goes to just a number of things. And, you know, what the commissioner said concerning that particular crime that happened with the white dude was that that particular crime was positioned as more important than others. And when people's heartstrings are tugged, that they call in and give, you know, their whatever information they have. And she said the same thing happened with the 11-year-old who happened to be black in the black community. And so I blame the media as well, and I'm a member of the media. But when you are talking about whether or not, you know, our community should participate more, yeah, we should. You know, and the deep thing is this, that the vast majority of people in our community, you know what they do? They go to work every day. They pay their bills. They take care of their families. That's what the vast majority of black people do. And so when you're talking about what happens in our communities as compared to other communities, you know, part of the reason why there is not an emergency response is systemic racism. Period. You know, and so when we are in a position to change that, we have to do it. So I hear your point, man, but I just think that everybody at every level, from the DA to the police commissioner to the mayor to the attorney general, the feds, you know, everybody, like if this was happening, could you imagine the type of murders that we see in our community happening in, I don't know, you know, an affluent community? You ain't going to see that because it's not going to be allowed. The same way you wouldn't see heroin addicts, right, defecating on the sidewalk in Chestnut Hill, living in tents on the sidewalk in Chestnut Hill. You're not going to see that. That's not going to be allowed in a more affluent community. And so, you know, I just think that has to be acknowledged, and then we have to move forward from there. Shaheem from New Jersey is on line one. Go ahead, Shaheem.
Good morning, brother. Well said. Well put, too. Well
Thank you.
put. It is a setup from day one. They allow it. That's why it runs rampant, and it gives them justification to treat and do us any way we can, because from what they portray us to be is look at where they live, look what they do, and don't know that they are building blocks for that kind of behavior. So I want to speak about the young man up in Minnesota and the officer that fired the fatal shot. I'm in the belief that, you know, it might have been an accident. She might have thought so. She might have thought so. But that being said, she still should go to prison. You know, because you kill someone accidentally does not justify it or reduces your legality in it. If you hit someone in the car running a red light, you can just criminal or vehicle homicide. You're going to jail. It's an accident, but you're still going to jail. She should be held accountable for that mistake, which cost someone their life. And I'm hoping that this woman, it was truly an accident. I'm in the belief that I'm hoping that's what it was. But regardless, she still needs to go to the full length of the judicial system. And please do not let them destroy this young man's character by stating that he had an outstanding warrant for marijuana. And here's the big one: he should have just stopped resisting. And it wouldn't have happened. That's what we're going to hear. Mr. Jones, man, I enjoy hearing you every morning, man.
Thank you, brother.
Positive flow to my morning, and I'm going to listen for my rest of my drive home. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your call this morning. And thank you so much for listening here at WURD. We certainly appreciate you. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Of course, on the other side of the break, we are going to be talking with Roxanne Jones, CNN commentator extraordinaire, who joins us every Tuesday to break down some of these national stories that we are talking about. And she always brings a unique perspective. And so on the other side of the break, we will be talking with CNN commentator Roxanne Jones about some of the things that are going on a national basis. Make sure you stay tuned in. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Hey, WURD family, have you heard of the new Go to Know campaign? If not, here is the deal. WURD Radio has partnered with the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, Penn Medicine, LabCorp, and the Independence Blue Cross Foundation to present the Go to Know Fit Kit Screening Campaign. The Go to Know campaign is an at-home screening test for colon cancer. Yup, you heard me right. You can take your own stool sample and mail it back for testing. Did you know colon cancer, if caught early, is 100% preventable? African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. Plus, it is recommended you get screened if you are 45 years of age or older. So for the next 6 months, you can go to wordradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. It's that simple. Again, just go to wordradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and request your free at-home screening test. That's it. Go to Know today.
You probably heard it before, but one of the best ways to stay safe from COVID is by avoiding crowds. That's better. Also, when you're out in public, make sure you stay 6 feet away from strangers or people you don't live with. It's okay to say, "Can I have some space, please?"
Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day today, and we can expect much.
If you're gonna have a get-together with friends and family, have it outside. And remember to keep those 6 feet of social distance. And last but not least, wear a mask. that covers your nose and mouth with no gaps. They slow the spread of COVID or new forms of the virus called variants. And make sure you get your vaccine when it's your turn. We're all out here trying our best, and it's making a difference. We just got to keep it up. We can do this.
To learn more about slowing the spread, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Lifting every voice
till earth and heaven ring.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
You're waking up
with WURD.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
This is a continuation of the mistreatment of black women in the United States. When I think of Black Lives Matter, I'm not just thinking of police brutality. I'm thinking about a whole law enforcement system screaming for reform. You can't tell me he didn't know something, and even if he didn't, he should have.
And now, Roxanne Jones, live on Wake Up with WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD, and joining us now is Roxanne Jones. Roxanne Jones, of course, is a former VP at ESPN, CNN opinion writer, Emmy-nominated producer, co-author of Say It Loud, an illustrated history of the black athlete, and CEO of the Push Marketing Group, a media strategy firm. Roxanne, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm well. Had the second vaccine. I'm about 7 days in.
Okay.
The first 2 days were a little rough, I must say, nausea and all that, but I'm good. Raring to go.
I hear you. Well, you got 7 more days, and well, you've been traveling anyway.
Listen, I've been traveling with about 10 masks on and Lysol and everything. And then, all of once I got, with the family, I've just been on road trips in cars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's it. Mm-hmm. So it's me and the fam. Everyone's vaccinated, so we're all right.
All right. Well, that sounds good. So I want to talk about Will Smith. Because Will Smith is representing him, and director Antoine Fuqua will no longer film the movie Emancipation, billed as a runaway slave thriller in Georgia, due to the state's voter suppression law. Do you think their actions are going to prompt other productions and businesses to pull out of that state?
I think that, one, I'm glad they did it. And secondly, I think that it does put some pressure on other entertainment companies. But I'm not really feeling like Disney and, the other I don't feel like they're really gotten enough pressure to pull out. There is so much, it's kind of like a sleepy secret. The industry knows it, but there are a lot of Hollywood productions that happen in Georgia.
Yep.
Because of many reasons. One, they have the best kind of sound stages. They have the best technicians. The state gives so many incentives that it's almost like 30% off your bottom line production costs. And people may not know this, but a lot of stuff is shot, like when I was at ESPN and I'm actually working on a couple of TV shows right now, a lot of them are shot in Canada. So the competition to get Hollywood productions, which bring in millions to your state, is really fierce. And so Georgia has offered such a discounted rate that and the infrastructure and the people who are skilled enough to put on top quality production, that they're reaping a lot of the benefits. And so I think there is potential there for other people to, Disney, other companies, not people, but other companies, to step up and do what Will Smith did. But I'm not really, my experience in Hollywood and the big studios is that they are not that conscious, nor do they care. They care more about bottom line. So we'll have to see. And I think it's us that could put pressure on them. But I'm really happy with what Will Smith did, and I'm hoping that others will follow suit.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too, and I know that, you know, Philadelphia, for instance, started trying to give the store away to get people to film stuff here, you know, with the Philadelphia Film Office, and so I know that the competition for that is fierce. My question is this: you got oh my goodness, Medea. You know what I'm talking about, the brother.
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry's, his whole thing is in Georgia, isn't it?
Everything. And it is, it's huge. It's very large. It's top quality. You know, I've been thinking about him a lot because I haven't heard anything from him. Now, I don't know if maybe I missed it, but I feel like this is a conversation where he should be engaged.
Yep.
You know, step up, Tyler Perry. I'm not saying which way he falls down on, but I feel like he should be engaged. So is he doing stuff behind the scenes, like the black CEOs who are now engaged and really putting a lot of pressure and having some pretty precedent-setting conversations across corporate America about responding to the voting laws? Like, where is Tyler Perry? What is he saying? And we need to hear from him.
Yeah. I'm thinking the exact same thing. I mean, he's got a major investment in Georgia. Major. You know, and a lot of major productions coming out of there. And we haven't heard anything from Tyler Perry. I'm concerned about that. I am.
I'm concerned too, but I'm also curious because I don't know. Does he think that there's another approach to it? Is he just sitting back hoping that his business is not harmed? Can he offer any kind of solutions or perspectives? Is he working with Georgia, with politicians, with Stacey Abrams to repeal these laws? Like, I have no idea what he's doing because he's been silent, and I think that's unfortunate.
Well, you're right, but when you talk about those black CEOs stepping up, you had the CEO of Merck, Kenneth Frazier, and the former CEO, he's retired, Kenneth Chenault, of another company, American Express. They were in the lead, like bringing all of these CEOs together, like, all right, now you have to say something about this. And you know who was there? Arthur Blank, the owner of the Atlanta Falcons.
Yes, he was. I think they had four NFL owners. They also had the man running for mayor in New York, the former CEO. Oh my goodness, his name is slipping me now.
Yang?
But
was Andrew?
No, not Yang. He's black.
Not Yang. Okay.
He's black.
He's black. Okay.
So,
okay.
So, you know, I think it was really powerful what Chenault is doing. He's the leader. He's like, he was the first and only black man CEO for decades. It seemed like, you know, they kept dusting him off. American Express, you know, AOL, everywhere. He's been everywhere. And it's such a welcome conversation because no matter how many folks we have in corporate at any level, CEO down, there's dead silence on these kinds of issues of civil rights, issues of police brutality. You know, corporations try to remain neutral and only focused on the dollar, while behind the scenes they're funneling money to the Republican Party for tax cuts or whoever, you know, they're feeling comfortable with. So they're not neutral by any means, but their public play usually is. And I think that we can hold them accountable for the way that they run their businesses, because without consumers, without the public, us watching Netflix or Disney films or whatever, they're trash. So I don't think that, and I'm glad that the CEOs have stepped up and started having these conversations so we can connect that, right? Because money really is the thing that pushes the lever on all of these decisions. And so we can be in the streets protesting as we are, as we need to be, but we also need to be up in the penthouse of corporate suites protesting in our corporate way, which means holding them accountable for the decisions that they make. And so I feel like that's one part of this reawakening, these uprisings that has been sorely missing. And Chenault has galvanized voices, hundreds now, there are about 100, to start having these conversations and pushing back on this. We shouldn't be talking about this. Let's just take money from black folks but not care that Jim Crow has returned.
No, I agree. And that brings me to the second thing I wanted to talk about, which is another police killing of an unarmed black man. It's taking place in Minnesota. Even as the Derek Chauvin trial is going on, what does this latest act of police violence do to influence the fight for systemic change going forward, Roxanne? What do you think?
Ooh. Well, I think the first thing that it does is, it's like a gut punch for me, for certainly the family, for the community, for us. Again, that's what it is. And what I'm seeing happening, this narrative that we have all glommed onto because a white police chief told us, as he said, I'm not going to be involved in the investigation. I'm a neutral bystander. I have no part in it. And he throws out, this was an accident. Yeah. That's not from an investigation. That is not because the woman said it was an accident. She didn't say it was an accident. We have no information, and right away the whole world is following this narrative that I mistakenly thought a taser, which is different on so many levels. Yep. Different color, different weight, different shape, different. Because now we all are talking about, yeah, I think she did. What the heck do we know? We don't know anything about this woman. We don't know her record. We don't know if she had a history of this. We don't know what her personal issues are. Why would we buy this nonsense? Once again, letting police tell us any old thing they want as an excuse for killing us. Why do we believe the murderers? Why do they get to set the tone? And I'm talking about media, and we had these conversations yesterday. And so I know that it was said in a press conference, right? But we don't have to take that as truth. We should not. Any good journalist is not taking that as truth, because you can investigate these things. The first thing that any news agency might do, first, you don't take it verbatim. This allegedly, the police chief said allegedly, he has no information to go on other than that video we all saw, and I didn't see anybody there saying, oh, it was an accident, I confused it. I didn't see that. So we're reading all this stuff into what emotionally this woman said. Who cares? That's not enough for me. Somebody is dead. So I think that the way that we take the narrative of the story from police, I've always thought that was wrong. Even when I was a nighttime cop reporter, I always thought that was wrong, lazy journalism.
Yeah.
And I think, I think that we have to really start pushing back right there from that point, right? We're told there are investigations, but before we even get to that, either the black person who is dead is criminalized, or now it was an accident. The sympathy is always with the police department, right? We were feared for our life. Oh, it was an accident. Like, we can't believe this stuff anymore. We just cannot.
No, we can't. And you know what? When you say that, when you talk about journalism, it takes me back to journalism school. That's my bachelor's in journalism. And there were a couple of sources that we were told we could use on authority. One was court documents, right? You could use court documents. If it says it in a court document, you can quote that in the story. Just, refer back to the court document. The other was this: police said. Remember that?
Yep. Yes, I do.
Police said.
Yes, I do. Yes,
you know what I mean? And that's what you're taught in journalism school. And now, you see all of this stuff, and it's like, you know what? That needs to be re-examined immediately, because it's not just because they said it doesn't mean that it's true. Not by a long shot.
And we know them to be liars, to be killers, to be murderers, to be white supremacists. We know that. And even as a young person, if you as a journalist, when you remember going to the cop house, reading the reports, which mostly are illegible, and I always had the sense they didn't put all the stuff in there. You would go out into the community, it'd be a totally different story. So like, how did everybody get, why are the police saying this? The people right here, witnesses standing by, we saw that, we see that now at the trial with George Floyd. He was resisting, he was resisting, he was resisting. Mr. Floyd had lost his life. He was dead. And the police were still saying he was resisting.
Yeah.
Even though we had the video right there to see. So again, they tell us something, sounds nonsensical. We see it with our own eyes. But we right away are, and even black folks are jumping to say, oh, I really think it was an accident. Come on. Stop it. We have to stop it. We have to stop that. And we are better than that. We deserve more than that. And going for the okie doke when we are being killed by the hundreds. So even this year so far, we're not even 6 months into the year by police. Come on. So
you know what this reminds me of, Roxanne? This case reminds me of Amber Geiger in Dallas. You know, going into Botham Jean's apartment and claiming, oh, I thought I was in my apartment and that's why I shot him. It was a mistake. And it's like, how do you not know your apartment from somebody else's? Even if the doors look alike. Once you go inside, come on, man. You lying.
Come on. It's common sense. And you know, every lie in the book is available to them because they are used to killing us and covering up and having any excuse be accepted. Right. So now that I feared for my life excuse, that's been exposed, like from a 12-year-old, from everybody. They're just fearing for their lives, right? They got the weapons. They're fearing for their lives. So now we've kind of put a dent in that. So let's not fall for these other things. Always question and push back, and we don't have to be part of the destruction of our own people. We don't have to participate in that any longer. We know that if we galvanize, if we hold people accountable through voting, through other means, that we can force a change. And we are right in the thick of this this examination of systemic racism and how that affects policing in the U.S. We've always known it, but we've never really had it front and center in a conversation. And so now is not the time to be going for the okie doke when police kill us.
You know, one of the interesting questions that was asked at the press conference came from a reporter with a British accent. Sounded white, maybe he wasn't. But the reporter basically asked, how come this only seems to happen with black people and it doesn't seem to happen with white people? And that is the question. That's the question. There's nothing else that needs. Why is this okay? If these are accidents and you know it's just something that just happens and it's part of your procedure and you had a split-second decision and you fear for your life or whatever it is that you're saying today, why is it that it only happens with black people?
Yeah, and you saw no answer to that, right? You saw the mouth hanging open, like, oh shoot, you know, like. Of course, there is an answer for that, but the police chief wasn't going to give it. And I really liked that press conference because it was the first time that I saw journalists doing their job aggressively in these situations, and that's what we need to do. Be aggressive. Ask those are common sense questions. What do you mean? How come this doesn't happen? You know, we have all the data to back up asking that question. We know it doesn't happen with white people. We already know that. We have stats, we have data. So that isn't an emotional question. That's a data-driven question. So what I would say to the public in our conversations to us, I mean, people who aren't working in media, is that we have to stay vigilant and pay attention to our guts and our common sense. Do not do not be brainwashed by this government, because these are government-sanctioned murders, We already know what our history is in this country. And so we don't have to try to placate people who might seem nice, or maybe they were nervous, or maybe, you know what? We're nervous all the time. We can't even feel safe in our own country that we built. So let's stop giving sympathy where it's not needed and instead push for accountability, push for answers, and we have to knock down this system of racist policing in the U.S. We have to. We have to find a way to do it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
here's
think
my
we
view.
can.
In terms of this particular case, even if it was an accident, you still need to be fired and you still need to go to jail. Like, if it comes out that that's the case, and, you know, again, I'm looking at you with the side eye, not really believing it, because you could shout taser, 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 and intend the whole time to kill them and use that as cover. Just like they say, they yelling, stop resisting, while they killing us. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what you yell beforehand has no, whether it was an accident, whether you did it on purpose, whether we never know, you killed somebody. You need to be fired and you need to go to jail. That's my view.
You need to go to prison, period. There's a lot of black folks in prison who accidentally shot, murdered, killed. There's no like, oh, it was an accident to the judge, to the cop. There is not, and there shouldn't be. So nobody, this police officer, 26-year veteran, gets no reprieve from me, and I don't even want to hear the word accident. That has no bearing on anything. It was a murder. The young man is dead, and that's how I have to look at this. And you know, that's what it is. That's what it is.
All right. That's Roxanne Jones. She's a former VP at ESPN, CNN opinion writer, Emmy-nominated producer, co-author of Say It Loud, an illustrated history of the black athlete, and CEO of the Push Marketing Group, a media strategy firm. Roxanne, as always, thanks so much.
Thank you, Solomon. Have a good one.
Okay, you too. We're going to go to break. On the other side, it's What's Trending, and then right back to your calls. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Samantha from Leo's Apparel on Germantown and Lehigh Ave. Open from 9:30 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday. We have the hottest selection of boys' dress suits and casual sportswear for boys sizes 2T to 20. Men, let me tell you, we got in a large shipment of straws from Stetson. We have new linen and dress suits. Biggest selection of Stacey Adams shoes. Get an extra WURD 10% discount.
The WURD Radio newsletter.
Keeping you informed, engaged, and connected.
Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio. Messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese. Exclusive articles and multimedia content and resources.
Stay informed
with the WURD Radio newsletter.
You probably heard it before, but one of the best ways to stay safe from COVID is by avoiding crowds. That's better. Also, when you're out in public, make sure you stay 6 feet away from strangers or people you don't live with. It's okay to say, "Can I have some space, please?"
Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day today, and we can expect much.
If you're gonna have a get-together with friends and family, have it outside. And remember to keep those 6 feet of social distance. And last but not least, wear a mask that covers your nose and mouth with no gaps. They slow the spread of COVID or new forms of the virus called variants. And make sure you get your vaccine when it's your turn. We're all out here trying our best, and it's making a difference. We just gotta keep it up. We can do this.
To learn more about slowing the spread, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD. what's trending.
Yo, that's crazy.
On Wake Up with Word.
Kanye West filed his answer to Kim Kardashian's divorce petition, and it's basically a mirror image of his estranged wife's legal docs. Kanye is also asking for joint legal and physical custody of the couple's 4 kids. They will almost certainly work out an arrangement between themselves and have it approved by the court. They have both committed to co-parenting, and they both want to shut the door on spousal support.
And LL Cool J exploded on the scene in the early 80s. Many of his songs made the Def Jam legend a household name, and the pioneering MC was labeled the forefather of pop rap, to which LL responded, "What the are you talking about?" Pop rap got its start when artists began their mainstream crossover like Run DMC, LL, Tone Loc, and DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince when they recorded singles emphasizing their good-humored storytelling abilities to massive chart success.
And DMX's family warns the public about scammers. DMX's family is not strapped for cash and is not asking the public to chip in for burial expenses. And if you see anything online saying otherwise, it's false. X's family is also not selling any DMX merch at this time. So if you're seeing stuff hitting the market now, his family didn't authorize it and they're not profiting from it. Lastly, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not buying DMX's masters for $10 million. And that is what's trending.
All right, that's what's trending right here on WURD Radio. Kwesi, I need to ask you, why you people always lying, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Why they lying? Why they always trying to scam?
Right.
Come on, man, stop.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm like, and the fact that they have to come out, the family has to say, listen, you know, like, no, we don't need help. Like, no. Like, just the fact that people just keep putting out this false information. It's crazy. It is.
You know, please stop lying. Can y'all just for a day, let's try just not lying day. Let's try that. You know, come on, man. The man died, you know, his family's mourning, and you trying to scam on that while they're grieving. Come on, man.
I know.
Have some kind of decency or something. Good grief. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's why I call social media anti-social media. Because it's a place where people engage in these behaviors that you just would not, you know, normal people would not do in person. But you have a lot of people who will do stuff online that's just, you know, treacherous, man. Treacherous stuff. Why are you trying to raise money, talking about you raising money for DMX funeral? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
No shame.
Stop. Lord. Oh, boy. I don't know. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. You can also hit us on Facebook at ForWord at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show. FORWURD is how you weigh in on Facebook. So, Kwesi, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
I'm just pulling it up now. Here we go. Watch my phone freeze on me. Nope, here we go. I got it. Okay, so we have here Sonia Marie saying people have no shame. So yeah, that's, you know, yeah, they really don't though. They really don't. Mimi Gee, good morning to you. Thanks for checking us out. Kwesi Vickers Jr. Is saying the police officer is said to have 25 years of experience and didn't know the difference between a gun and a taser. Nonsense. So that's another comment. Absolutely correct. And then we also have here Gail Robinson. Thank you, Roxanne, for calling out the foolish, ridiculous behavior of the chief and some of our people. Then also, here's a comment as well. Dana Morera says, January 2009, Oakland, California, BART police put a black 22-year-old Oscar Grant in handcuffs and shot him in the back. The white BART cop claimed that he thought it was his taser. Oscar lived around the corner from me in Hayward, California. They even made a movie about this. This happened 12 years ago, and the same things are still happening today. This has got to stop. So that's another comment that we have here as well. Landis Rose says, thank you, Roxanne, for your insightful commentary. I enjoy hearing your analysis every week. So yes, shout out to Roxanne for just always, bringing such wonderful commentary to the show. Deborah Dawn Carter, Solomon, didn't Rita make your day? You gotta love her. I can see your face. The expression looks like, Lord have mercy. So, yeah. Raymond Mitchell, good morning to you also. And then I'm trying to pull everyone down here. I think I already said good morning to Allison B. Fraser Hayden, but just keep the comments coming, and I will read them as they come.
215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Let's go to the phone lines and talk to Brother Hurt from North Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Brother Hurt.
Hey, good morning, Simon. What up, what up, what up?
What up, man?
Hey, Simon, guess where I just left, man?
Where?
I just left the station, dropped my membership off. I feel good, man.
Okay. Thank you, man. We appreciate that.
I'm on my way home. But what I need from you, I'm going to call you tomorrow and get the number for your thing that you can do when you go to. Okay?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Brother Hurt.
Okay, I'm going to need your membership number. I'm about to call you tomorrow because I'm going to let you the call. I don't have a pen.
Okay.
Okay? So I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
Talk about the membership. God bless y'all and y'all be safe.
God bless you too, Brother Hurt. I appreciate it, and thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Veronica from Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Veronica.
Good morning, Solomon. Good
morning.
Kawesa. How's my word family today?
We're good. How are you?
I got my first shot.
Okay.
Hallelujah. So I'm really excited about that.
There you go. Congratulations.
What I wanted to congratulate Dr. Ayla Stanford because she gave her street sign.
Yep.
And they gave her so much recognition yesterday. It was such a beautiful event. And I'm just so proud of her. She's doing
me too.
Such an exceptional job. And people need to know that. So I just wanted to give her a big old shout out. I also wanted to know, do you have the number, because I'm sure you know about it, about giving assistance to people that have died from the COVID for the funeral? So I wrote the number down in case you need it. In case
Okay, what is it?
Okay, the number is 844 684 6333. And you can call Monday through Friday from 8 to 8. They say the lines are overwhelmed, but they're giving up to $9,000 for those who have lost people and are still trying to pay for funerals.
Okay, get a number one more time.
Okay, 844 684 6333. And my last comment is, my son works for the Tyler Perry Studios, and he says it's on and popping in Georgia right now because people hadn't been working. So whatever, I guess he makes the decision to do, I guess he's thinking about, the people that are working for him. Because my son just went back into the studio, and he hadn't worked for a whole year. So I just wanted to share that information.
Okay, so there's no talk about moving. I mean, they could still work, just move out of Georgia and do it someplace else. Is there any talk about that?
I'm going to be the first to let you know.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank
right,
you for your call this morning.
Have a blessed day. God bless you.
All right, you too. You too. And thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. And see, that's one of the things that like Stacey Abrams and them are talking about in Georgia, Kawesa. They're talking about, well, black people work for these companies. We shouldn't boycott the companies because black people are going to be hurt. And I'm like, the companies could move someplace else. They could move right out of Georgia, move to the next state over, and move there temporarily. Because guess what? If you stay there for a couple of months, that's enough pressure for them to make some changes. I just think you have to do something, and that's my view. So what do you think?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I do feel that organizations, need to take a stand and do what they must in order to make sure, that black folks are being treated correctly. And so while I feel that it would be very difficult for Tyler Perry to kind of get up and move just because I don't even think he's been with Atlanta for even 5 years now. Maybe it's been about 5 years, but I understand that it might be a little difficult for him to get up and move, but sometimes we have to make those types of sacrifices in order to show that we're playing hardball, and in order for people to really understand just how important and just how necessary it is for us to be treated correctly in this country. We have gone far too long without being treated as second-class citizens, and we built this country off the backs of our ancestors, and you want to continue to keep treating us like this? We getting gunned down in the street, so I think that there are definitely ways to make sure, that we can hit them where it hurts, and that's usually in the pocketbook or in the wallet. So yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number that you can call to get in. Let's go to Haraya from Ardmore on line 3. Go ahead, Haraya.
Yeah, Solomon, when it comes to saving money, they sure shut down quick, fast, and in a hurry and move overseas. So,
don't they?
Yes, indeed. And the thing about it, I want to know with this cop that pulled the taser, the gun out, because I'm listening to Commissioner Ramsey, and he's saying the taser not only being a different weight, and I don't know whether the trigger on the taser is the same as the trigger on a gun, but he said that she had it in her hand for a minute or so, before utilizing it. I'm trying to figure out, because she was putting the handcuffs on him, which is kind of extreme for a traffic stop, or kind of extreme to be asking somebody to get out the car. Was that because they found out he had a warrant? The other thing that I wanted to comment on, Solomon, is okay. If I write these notes down, Solomon, and I can't see worth a darn. Okay, so I don't even know why I bother to write the notes. But anyway, if these jurors, Solomon, can find a doubt after the case that the prosecution has laid, this case that the prosecution has laid down, I mean, my God, they must be secretly Ku Klux Klan members, because the prosecution has laid down, I mean, such a solid case. And I want to say big ups and not congratulations, but thank you to the officers that are breaking the code of this good old boys code, solid code. This is Blue Lives Matter. These two police chiefs that got on there and testified, they are real police officers. And that's my little 2 cents for today.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. Let's go to Gail from the Northeast on line 4. Go ahead, Gail.
Good morning, Solomon and Kawita.
Good morning.
My comments is today, I just want to expound on what Roxanne was saying, because Roxanne really laid the groundwork. She said, no, we're not going to fall because this is the okie doke. They're trying to hoodwink and change the narrative of the story. 26 years on the police force, and you don't know the difference that night between your gun and taser. And all he did was come out and lead the story, hoping everybody else, just like they did with the Derek Chauvin case, will pick up and say, oh, go with the... No. The narrative is really phony, just like all that. She knew she happened to be a murderer, and now she has to be dealt with just as if she was a regular person that murdered somebody, because that's how they deal with the public. If you murder somebody, you say it was accident, I didn't mean to do it, you still go to jail. She needs to go to jail. I'm not buying that, and it's ridiculous. And I'm sure Ramsey and a lot of these police chiefs are going to say, wait a minute, you heard her say, taser, what's that? That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. We can't fall for that, and it's ridiculous. But thank you, and have a blessed day.
You too, and thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. just so many thoughts going through my head. I'm thinking about the gentleman, Lieutenant Nazario, who was stopped by the police in Windsor, Virginia. And, the cop is yelling at him like he's a little boy or something. Like he said, "You were given an order, obey it." And it really reeks. It reeks of racism and pride, right? Like, oh, you have the nerve to question me? How dare you? You have the nerve to try to run from me? How dare you? I'll fix you. And to me, this case with Daunte Wright has those same shades of, oh, you trying to run from me? I'll fix you. It's just like, when the police officer killed Walter Scott. I believe the officer was named Michael Slager. Michael Slager is now in jail. And what Michael Slager did was Walter Scott tried to run from a car stop. He calmly pulled out his weapon, shot him like 8 times in the back, and then went and tried to plant a taser on him, not knowing that he was being filmed, right, by a bystander who he couldn't see. And, he told his little story, told his little lie. Oh, he tried to take my taser, and so I shot him. And, when the video emerged, it was clear that he was lying and that he shot and killed this man in cold blood. And, who knows? She might have shouted taser, taser, taser just to cover herself. You've been on the force for more than 20 years, and you don't know the difference between a taser and a gun. I'm not buying it. Just like when we see these cases over and over again where the cops are yelling, stop resisting, the person's not resisting, you just want to abuse them. And so you're yelling, stop resisting, to cover the actions that you are taking. She could have been doing the same thing with yelling, taser, taser, taser. You've been on the force more than 20 years and you don't know the difference. I'm not buying it. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show right here on WURD.
The Germantown Friends School mission begins with a commitment to community and to the belief that academic achievement is in itself not enough. Inspired by Quaker values, GFS encourages students in preschool through grade 12 to see the world as theirs to experience, to understand, to create, and to change. Learn more about the GFS academic, arts, and athletics programs at their upcoming virtual open house, Friday, April 16th, 9 a.m. Register now at germantownfriends.org/admissions.
The Black Words Book Club. Word Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. For April, Word Radio is partnering with the Free Library of Philadelphia and showcasing their pick for its annual citywide reading program, One Book, One Philadelphia, entitled The Tradition by Jericho Brown. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, April 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We're, of course, taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Let's go back to the phone lines and talk to Margie from West Philly on line 1. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Solomon.
Hi.
It's kind of off topic, kind of on topic. When the ESPN commentator was on, I was thinking about Andy Reid's son and just the way he's been portrayed. You know, he was involved in a DUI and killed somebody. He's got history, you know, he's got all kinds of criminal history, but, you know, comes from money and, you know, was given a job. All those opportunities he wouldn't have had if he was a young black man who had started off.
Or if he wasn't Andy Reid's son.
Right.
Son of an NFL coach. Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm just wondering, though, are there, you know, you all mentioned, like, you know, little guidelines for journalists. Are there guidelines for journalists that say you can't talk bad about those folks? That you can't
so there's a difference. So I'm a columnist, right? Let me answer your question. So I'm a columnist. So my job as a columnist is to look at the facts and then give my opinion. Somebody who was a reporter, their job is to report the facts. And so there's two different types of journalists. And so for a reporter, you're supposed to report the facts. But again, you know, you can report them. You report them through the lens of your experience. You know, they used to tell us about objectivity, but, you know, you can't be objective about things. You do everything through the lens of your experience. And so that's the answer to your question. But go ahead.
Now, there seems to never be any objectivity when it comes to our people.
I hear you.
And that's
I hear you.
There's this constant narrative of our people being portrayed in a way. Even this young boy is 20 years old. And they're talking about this oldest man. You know, both of these kids are 20 years old, right? They're shot by the police. We don't get that set, but you know, Andy Reid's son gets to be looked at as a son, as a person, as a human being. You know, I'm frustrated with that from my people, from my boys.
I hear you. I hear you, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. You know, when you walk into a newsroom, and I've walked into many, what you'll find is that newsrooms are overwhelmingly white. Real rap. Like, they are overwhelmingly white. The decision makers are white. You know, the editors are white. And so, you know, all of that, you know, goes through the lens of that experience. And in order for newsrooms to overcome that, you know, editors have to be intentional about making sure that they are allowing others to have a point of view. And, you know, I have to give kudos to the Inquirer and the Daily News. You know, I told them from the beginning, y'all want me to write about race, don't tell me how to write it. And they have not done that. And so my hat's off to them for that. But, you know, you still need more people who are black and brown in positions of authority to make decisions. You have to. You have to. If you are going to report accurately on what's going on in communities where the people don't look like you and you have no idea what their experience is. You know what I mean? Like, how you going to represent what's happening in that community? You don't know nothing about that community. You know, so there's a lot of work that has to be done, and a lot of it has to be done in the media. I agree. 215-634-8065 is the number. Tony from North Philly is on line 2. Go ahead, Tony.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning, brother.
My call, and good morning. I heard someone called in earlier about why should they wear a mask. You know, it's like this. If, say, we all standing in a closed garage and the car is running, you know, and all the carbon monoxide is coming out. But as soon as you clog up that exhaust, then it stops coming out. Well, we all are like a car. So, but when you wear a mask, you stop the car from breathing out the carbon monoxide. But in our case, we breathing out the COVID. And then it just becomes a situation whether if your immune system is strong enough to handle it while you holding it inside with the mask. And that's the importance of a mask. But and like in Stacey Abrams' case, with all due respect, what if the Montgomery bus boycott had took the position she's taken, it would have lost its efficacy.
I don't think anybody was I don't think any black people was working for the Montgomery Bus Company. So they ain't have to worry about that.
But they still was working. Well, you know what I'm trying to say, though.
Yeah, I hear you.
They didn't worry about that. They was worrying about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for taking my call. Peace.
Thank you for your call this morning, as always, on WURD Radio. Gary from Southwest is on line 3.
Hey, good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
I just wanted to say I enjoyed your conversation with Roxanne Jones. She was so much on point. You know, we're still dealing with Jim Crow, man. Jim Crow has never left, and we're still dealing with that. When we can visually see a black man, woman, or child murdered on film, and they come up with all these kind of excuses, and we as a collective, we have got to come together and say, no, it's no more of this nonsense, and we can't continue to deal with this, because any one of us could be a victim on any given day. And just here in the city of Philadelphia, you see what's going on, and I don't understand why our city is not in a state of emergency right now with all these murders and these illegal guns that are going on. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your call, as always, to WURD Radio. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number. Renee from West Oak Lane is on line 4. Go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, good morning, Kuwait and everyone.
Good morning.
I'm just totally exhausted with the killings of black people, you know, whether it be in our communities or whether it be with our officers. I want to speak about Vice President Kamala Harris. When she was a senator, she did address the problem of fatal shooting of black men and women with the Stephen Clark situation. And we as people, we vote for these people. We put these people in office. We're going to be talking about this thing like forever, what's going on with black people. We need to apply pressure to these people that we put in office for them to do something. You know, we can't just keep talking about this. Some action has to be done. We need to address these people that we vote for and make them change the laws or make new laws about what's happening to black people in America. And so far as DMX, why don't people just let DMX and his family grieve? Yes, we know DMX had 15 children. Yes, we know he had a drug habit. He had attorneys off. We don't know about DMX finance, but I'm quite sure a lot of his finance went out on that. And, like, one thing Kuwaisa had said a few shows ago, and with Prince Philip and stuff, we're tired of them living off of black people, living off of us, off our pain and suffering lavishly. So I just wanted to make a point about, you know, all of that, just what I said. I just wanted to put that out there for people.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. And I do want to make a correction in terms of Andy Reid's son in that car accident. There was a 5-year-old girl who was critically injured. Fortunately, no one died in that accident, but there was a 5-year-old girl who was critically injured, and he was charged subsequently with driving while intoxicated. And that just happened yesterday. The accident happened back in February. And so why he was just charged, I don't know, but he was just charged yesterday, I believe, with driving while intoxicated. So that's what happened in that case. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. That's the number. You can also hit us on Facebook at onWURD at FORWURD. That's FORWURD, and let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Kuwaisa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So a few more comments here. We have Kenneth Simmons saying, has Biden addressed the problem of police shooting black people? I don't think that I've heard him come outright and say anything as of yet, but I mean, just like directly related to that. So then also Patricia Ann Holmes says, police officer Kim Potter knew she had a gun in her hand and staged that murder by shouting, "Taser, taser." So that's another comment that we have here. And then we also have, I'm going to say good morning to Geraldine Mayfield. I don't know if I said hi to you this morning, but she's saying, I thought Okay, yeah. So she's just basically saying the same thing that you had mentioned as well, Solomon, in regards to the correction for the Andy Reid and his son's story. And then we also have here, nope, same person. Let me try to pull this up. Viola Richburg Gray is saying that she has brain damage. And then we have Kenneth Simmons also saying, we pay taxes that pay the salaries of policemen that kill black folks. Part of those taxes goes to the court system, that then set them free. So we are financing our deaths. So that's another comment that we have also. So those are just a few folks weighing in here. And then, Valerie Jones just saying, no, he hasn't, but he should, talking about the fact that Joe Biden hasn't really directly addressed the issues with police killing black folks. So those are our comments that we've had on the show today.
Okay. All right. So tonight, of course, the second night of listening to the streets with our first cohort of 5 mentees. Last night, it was just a really revealing and I think, intimate conversation, man, around these issues and how they are affecting us. And just so proud of the young men who are participating, proud of our care team members who are really the backbone of helping us to document everything that we are doing, our mentors, our facilitators, just everybody, man, who is involved in this. It is more than what I imagined and envisioned it to be. And so just keep us in prayer, man, as we work through these issues with gun violence in our community, and really focus intensely on the lives of these young men and try to help them move forward. And if you want someone to be involved in this effort, man, as we go to the next cohort, please let us know. You can send an email to info@manupPHL.org, or you can call or text 267-748-7818. That's 267-748-7818. That's going to do it for today's show right here on WURD Radio. I want to thank all of our guests, including Dr. Delana Wardlaw and Dr. Elena McDonald, New Jersey Attorney General Gerbir Graywall, and of course, CNN commentator Roxanne Jones. And I want to thank each and every one of you. And now, for super producer Kawesa Mathis and everyone here at WURD Radio, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying stay tuned for Reality Check with Charles Ellison, and tune in tomorrow at 7 for more Wake Up with Word. Peace.